It is officially Chargers week. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And I don't know about y'all, this entire week, I need the FLACs down below. Now that it's finally week one, which, you wait all May, June, July, you wait and wait, you go through free agency, you go through the draft, you go through the dog days of May, June, and July for all the people that have been watching this show when we were doing stuff for Madden simulations. Well, guess what? Now we actually get to see a real-life Raiders game. A game where it's Antonio Pierce up against Jim Harbaugh. And I'll tell you what, I got a fun show on tap for everybody out there. I'm going to end up doing a brand new final record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders. I know the last time that I did this show was probably about 3 months ago. I think we can all agree a lot of things have changed since then. I'm also going to do a segment today of why I believe that Davante Adams is going to absolutely, positively torch the Chargers this week. And then I got some hot seat candidates. And these aren't players that are going to get fired. These aren't players that are going to lose their jobs. But they're at least like going into this Chargers game, they're on notice a little bit. And it's not a bad notice. It is almost, I would say, obvious notice. So we're going to break down those players that have the hottest seats. And if you want to get your questions, comments on the show, you can use hashtag Raiders or you can super chat like Patrick B. Bang! What's up, Patrick B? If you don't know what the B stands for, then you're obviously new around here. Patrick B is our first bang of the month of September. Shout out to Mount Raidermore for always pulling up and giving me the juice, giggity, that I needed this day, man. I'm not going to lie, not that I was dragging ass a little bit this morning, but had a long weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Alex and I, we were looking at cars yesterday because she needs a new car for I'm not kidding you, 6-7 hours, and it took everything out of me. I had to go to Men's Warehouse somehow. My suit, which I'm in a wedding this weekend. If you're getting married week one of the NFL season, shame on you. Dave, I love you, but shame on you. I'm not kidding you. The sleeves were like this. Like a suit sleeve. The one sleeve was, I'm not kidding you, 3 inches shorter than the other one. Had to get it fixed. Yesterday was a little bit of a shit show, so I woke up today dragging ass a little bit. Also got a super chat coming in here from Gilbert Moreno. What's up, my man? Just got my ticket to the game last night. By the way, they're good seats on the Raiders sideline. Well, Gilbert, I got to ask you, you better have gotten your tickets through Gametime. That's all I'm going to say, because Gametime right now, they got some awesome deals going on. And Chuggs and I, anytime that we go to an event, if I'm going to a Raiders game this upcoming season, guess where I'm getting my tickets? I'm getting them through Gametime. So shout out to them for sponsoring today's show. I think Gametime, it's a good way to put it. When you go to Vegas, last-minute tickets, that lowest price guaranteed, and the fact that football's back, if you haven't already downloaded the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. I'm going to say it again. Gilbert, you better have done it. You better have gone to Gametime today for those last-minute tickets, that lowest price guaranteed. Chuggs is going to put the links for you guys down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. I use Gametime, and I hope that you guys use Gametime as well. Now, what I want you to do is go down below and fill in the blank. Who is going to be the Raiders MVP up against the Chargers? I got to know. Are we going to go with Gardner Minshew? Are you going to go with Davante Adams? Are you going to go with maybe a Brock Bowers, Zamir White, Jacoby Myers? All of those players I am mentioning because also one of our sponsors here on today's show, PrizePicks. And you can now go pick more or less on all of those players that I just mentioned. Shout out to PrizePicks. It is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play 5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Here's the crazy part, Chuggs. You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. That's it. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. So shout out to PrizePicks. Shout out to Gametime for sponsoring our show. The MVP against the Chargers this upcoming week is going to be fill in the blank. Maybe some of y'all might even be saying it's Max Crosby. Maybe it's going to be a Christian Wilkins. I am seeing a lot of Gardner Minshews from King Schaub. The defense or the offensive line from Rebel, Montana. What's up, Jeff Rogers? Good to see you. And the 514 people here. If you're one of the people watching this show and you're not fired up for game week, I'm serious. If you haven't clicked the like button because you're not fired up for game week, I want you to click that X button.
F you.
I want you to swipe up, get out of this live show.
We don't need you.
I need you to just take a deep breath.
Do it.
Get together.
Come on.
And then rejoin the stream.
There we go.
It's week 1, Chuggs. I'm excited, dude. I'm fired up.
Do you have a week 1 MVP watch?
My week 1 MVP watch is Davante Adams, and that's why I'm doing the show that I'm doing today. Like, we did a fantasy football draft in my family league yesterday. I also did one on Sunday with Alex and some of our friends.
Did you get Davante?
I did not get Davante.
Oh.
You know who did get Davante? My fiance. And I have a feeling it's because Chuck, who watches the Raiders report more than anyone, said, hey, Mom, this is the guy that you need to go out there and get. But Davante shreds the Chargers. And then when you add that little extra, let's just say the Chargers did something to Tay over the summer, if you weren't following along, that pissed him off.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't afraid to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to go off. Who do you think is going to be the MVP for the Raiders this week?
The MVP for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm nervous.
Week 1.
About this answer.
It's going to be A.J. Cole. That field-flipping punter, the ability to pin the Chargers back inside their own 20-yard line, keep the defense honest, keep them up front, and make sure they have great field position every single drive. Give me A.J. Cole pinning them back deep.
If A.J. Cole's the MVP of this game, we're getting another 3-0 snooze fest. And I don't know if I can do that.
No, because it's a field position game. Because
if the punter's the MVP, it's 3-0.
You'll pin them deep, 3 and out.
Yep.
Gardner in the offense gets to start at the 50-yard line.
Do they score? Because if they score a touchdown, I don't know if A.J. Cole's the MVP. To me, I think the only way A.J. Cole's MVP is if it's 2-0, 3-2, or 3-0.
I don't think it's going to be an insane.
I can't do that.
I think this is a defensive team. This is a run-first team. When you have that kind of style that AP wants to run, which, funny enough, people aren't talking about it. Harbaugh wants to do the same exact thing with the Chargers offense.
I agree.
I mean, they have Justin Herbert, but he wants to – you look back at his time at Michigan last year. He's running the ball, maybe throwing it, and then running the ball.
I'll tell you this right now, a sneaky, sneaky name, and I got to give some credit here to, I think it's engine number 9, Jacoby Myers. I think a lot of people pay a lot of attention to Davante Adams, and even like on PrizePicks, right? Like PrizePicks, you look at the value that Jacoby Myers has week in and week out. Like I was looking, 3.5 receptions for Jacoby Myers was what it was for PrizePicks, more or less on that. I saw that, and I'm like, give me the more every single day of the week on that one. I know that Antonio Pierce, this is a must-win game for him. I mean, I think one of the biggest storylines in this game, and I don't know if the Raiders, if it wasn't Antonio Pierce, if they would have pursued Jim Harbaugh, but I do have a certain feeling that the Raiders picked Antonio Pierce over Jim Harbaugh. Whether Harbaugh would have came to the Raiders or not, I don't know. But the Raiders made that decision to go with AP over Harbaugh. This is also a must-win game for AP. Let's go to Jake Serb. What's up, my man? Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of shorts? In case he gets a hole-in-one. That's a good one. Serb, that's pretty damn good, man. My dad used to always say the same thing when he would see my socks. He'd be like, Mitch, why are your socks so religious? And I would never understand it, and then because they're holy. So then he would throw them away. That's how it would go. Also, Nathan Peterman's got a brand new home in Atlanta. Nathan Peterman to the Falcons.
Everybody cue that meme of the white kid in Atlanta.
I mean, well, they got rid of what? Is Heineke? Heineke's not still there. Where the heck's he now? Or is he still there? I don't know. Is that their Heineke replacement?
We have our Falcons guy right here. Maybe he knows. I don't know.
He's not paying attention to me, which I don't blame him. Let's go to Martin. What's up, Martin? Finally got the jersey. Love the pick. Do the Chargers have a better O-line, in your opinion? I actually think that the Chargers have a better offensive tackle group, which I know we have Colt Miller. Rashawn Slater, though, to me is a superior offensive tackle talent. After that, I do think that there's a lot of unknowns for the Chargers offensive line, just like there's some unknowns for the Raiders O-line. But, I think a lot of Chargers fans would clearly say it's the Chargers. I think a lot of Raiders fans would say it's the Raiders. There's new offensive line coach for both Sides, like both teams. Like we have James Craig. I'd be lying to tell you off the top of my head I know who the Martin. Also, Rebel, can you get rid of the bots, man? Can you get rid of the bots? I would definitely need some help with that. Yep, Spam B, get rid of them. The bots have been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I would say that the offensive lines are kind of similar, if I'm being real. Chargers probably do have a little bit of an advantage, but I'm hoping that the Raiders could be. I'm hoping the Raiders can be a top 16 offensive line this season. I was a lot more confident, which probably most people watching the show were maybe a little bit more confident when the Raiders drafted Jackson Powers-Johnson. Like, if you would have asked me in April, May, where do you see this Raiders offensive line? And now today, where I still don't even know if JPJ is going to be starting, and if I got to roll out with Cody Whitehair, like, that's a concern to me. I did a video yesterday about some of my biggest concerns going into week one. One of my biggest concerns is Cody Whitehair going to be a starting offensive lineman for the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the team where the last time you were in SoFi, you gave up 7 sacks. Sure, Khalil Mack had 6 of those, but Cody Whitehair up against Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, that scares the absolute hell out of me, man. We need Chuggs at left tackle from XX. I mean, Colton Miller is a phenomenal. I mean, Chuggs, great footwork.
Colton Miller's not bad.
Colton Miller is one of the best tackles in all of football. He's good there. I think right now we need a left guard. If Chuggs wants to play left guard, I'm much more.
That's what I played in high school.
Much more in that. I will also say this, and this is something that I talked about yesterday as well, where, like, I would almost rather the Raiders put Andres Pete at starting at left guard over Cody Whitehair if Jackson Powers-Johnson is not ready, just because of how much you literally can't afford to put Whitehair out there. Let's go to Mando. What's up, my man? Minshew better not float those passes this weekend. I have faith this weekend. 98 gonna eat Joe Alt. I mean, that's another great example of Joe Alt, right? Like, you got Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, the tackles. That's probably the best tackle duo in the NFL right now, young tackle duo. I still think Penei Sewell is probably the best offensive tackle in the league. Trent Williams is obviously top 3 as well. But, like, Minshew's going to float some balls, guys. It's not like Gardner Minshew overnight is going to wake up and have a average NFL arm. We got to be honest with ourselves. Gardner Minshew's arm strength, that is a below average NFL arm. What you need Minshew to do is create havoc for the defense. And once a few plays break down, you got to capitalize on the big ones. Now, you got to limit the turnovers, and that's for interceptions, fumbles as well for Minshew. If he can take care of the football, be somewhere around, if he can be somewhere around 65% completion percentage and get us somewhere close to 230, 240 passing yards, and then really rely on Zamir White in that running game to churn up some yards, rely on your defense, I think that's how the Raiders are going to win this game. If they're going to go out there and try to get into shootouts with teams, they're going to lose. Yes, they have great skill position players, but if you go in trying to get into a shootout with Gardner Minshew, I don't think that you're going to win a lot of football games. Let's go to King Shav. What's up, man? Chuggs, how was the WWE Friday Night SmackDown and WWE Bash in Berlin and WWE Monday Night Raw?
Me and producer Smitty were talking about this just before the show. The Facts. CM Punk Drew McIntyre rivalry is going to go insane. I mean, I think that,
I have no idea what he's talking
feud's
about.
Great. They're still rocking, which I don't know if it was fake or not. Rhea Ripley looked like she injured her leg on Monday Night Raw. I don't know if that's real or not, but Liv Morgan might have the upper hand on Mommy for right now.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
Besides that, Bloodline, I'm kind of losing interest in the Bloodline. I need some more juice with Roman Reigns. But I thought the headliner at Bash in Berlin between Gunther and Randy Orton was awesome.
There you go. I'll just say I agree with everything that Jeremy just said there. And if you agree as well, click that like button. We got 700 people here tuned in to the Raiders Report. We got a big-time game up against the Chargers, Week 1 AFC West. AP going up against Jim Harbaugh. How many receiving yards for Davante Adams this week up against the Chargers? The segment that I got coming up here on today's show is I'm going to give you my prediction. How many targets, how many receptions, how many yards, how many touchdowns number 17 is going to score. And I'm saying this going up against Alex, my fiance, in our fantasy football league. She's got Davante. And I'm nervous about it because I think he's going to eat. Her wide receiver core is pretty nice. She got Justin Jefferson and Tay. That's a pretty solid start at the wide receiver position. I see 145 from JP Lacoste. What's up, my guy?
She's sitting there drafting.
Robert Smooth, 87.
Raiders.
Well, she goes, I got to get one Cowboy player, and I got to get one Raiders player. So we're in a PPR league, okay? And I go, who do you want to take in the first round? She goes, I got to get CeeDee Lamb. And I go, hate to break it to you, you're the last pick in round 1. That's not going to happen. She's like, well, you don't know that. And I was like, all right, maybe. It's a 2-quarterback league, so I thought maybe there was a chance. Pick number 9, CeeDee Lamb, still on the board. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no effing way he's going to fall there, right? Gets taken at 9. And when I tell you she was in panic mode, it was almost like I dangled a treat in front of Chuck, and then it was like,
you just threw it out the window.
Right? It's just like, wait a minute, dude. What the hell's happening?
Wait, so then she went ahead and got Davante with the first pick?
No, she got Justin Jefferson. I think she ended up taking, Tyreek, I want to say, was the first receiver taken, CD, and then it was, Jamar Chase ended up going a lot later. I was like, shit, should I take Chase? I don't know what's happening there. All right, I see 160 from Kenneth Phelps, 118 and 2 touchdowns from Can't Get Right. Can't Get Right and I are thinking very similar. That's all I'm going to say. Engine number 9, 145 and 2 tutties. Mario, 165, 2 touchdowns. Glenn, Mitch baby, what's up, man? I mean, Justin Jefferson is a damn good wide receiver. Oh, Justin Jefferson actually might be the best receiver in the NFL, but from fantasy football standpoint, he's got Sam Darnold throwing him the rock. Maybe it helps him out for more targets. I just don't think it results in the best numbers possible. Let's go to the real Cowboy 307. What's up, my bro? I know he is not a Raider anymore, but how is Hunter Renfrow still a free agent? I think this just goes to show you that sometimes we fall in love with the name way more than what we fall in love with the player. And, I kind of got ripped on this for the past 2 seasons, but I used to say it all the time. Hunter Renfrow, I don't know if he's a top 100 receiver in the NFL anymore, and it has nothing to do with talent. It's the injury to his head, where as soon as he started getting those concussions, you have to go back and you got to watch the tape on Renfrow. He was a totally different player, right? Just like Derek Carr after his injury from 2015, 2016, totally different quarterback. Hunter has been a totally different wide receiver the past 2 seasons. And I know a lot of people are going to blame Josh McDaniels. And yes, McDaniels was certainly responsible because I think, a lot of us thought you're going to put a really good slot wide receiver with the Josh McDaniels offense. It's the truth. Let's be real. White slot receiver in Josh McDaniels offense, and it was just going to work. But Renfrow was more of like this backyard receiver that when plays didn't exactly work out, he was really good at being able to find the open spot, and DC would find him. We're that's not how McDaniels' offense worked. But then also, Renfrow was not very good. And he got slower. The injuries started to pile up. And I think because maybe the money that he wants, if I'm a team right now, I'm offering Hunter Renfrow a deal like I gave Michael Gallup. I'll give you a 1-year deal worth up to $3 million. I still think that he ends up finding a home, but I do think because he is still available, where just 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons, he had over 100 catches, tells me he's not 100% healthy, or he just wants way too much money because he's a great locker room fit. He's a great player to be able to add to your team. It's just he's
Scrappy,
not nearly as good.
Coach's kid.
Hard worker.
Sneaky athletic.
First guy in. Shut up. Cass Joey. Nice whip. Got Raiders winning this game easily.
Ooh.
I think a tight end or...
Well, Renfro's not on the team
anymore. There's a certain guy on Twitter that I follow. He's a Raiders guy. And he's always what is it? It's like nice whites or expensive whites. It's like wine brands. And he's always puts pictures up of Brock Bowers, all this. But I'm bummed I had to sell my tickets to the game, broke my elbow, and tore my tricep yesterday.
Yikes.
From working out. I thought you just posted something 2 days ago on IG about you working out. I mean, that's craziness. First off, hopefully you feel better there. One of my buddies, my senior year in high school, he was our first baseman. He reached out to get the ball, and the runner ran into him. I'm not kidding you. I was on the third base side dugout. Again, he's playing first. I heard his tricep pop. So I don't know if it was similar for you. It was one of the most disgusting injuries I've ever heard. I can remember one of my good friends, she was playing softball, and I heard her Achilles pop running up the first base dugout. The tricep was louder. It was really, really gross. I'm not going to say that they're going to win easily just because it's a division game, and I don't really see Jim Harbaugh being the head coach that's going to get blown out in his first game at home at SoFi. I know the nation's going to take it over, but we got to win at SoFi before we can say that we're going to win a game easily at SoFi. Let's go to Evil Mitch. Cam Ward looked really interesting. I I mean, Cam Ward looked really good. I mean, he played exactly how I thought he was going to play, where he's going to show you some of those weird arm angles, almost like, again, people are going to say Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes is always the quarterback that can throw from all these different arm angles. But one of the things that I like about Cam Ward is he can throw in the pocket. He can also throw like he's a shortstop, second baseman, turning the double play. But how cool, calm, and collected he looked. You could talk about Florida's team not being very good because Florida's not a very good football team. But that atmosphere is still one of the best atmospheres in all college football. And for Cam Ward to never look shook, I mean, in a single moment. Like, there was that one part of the game where there was like a big-time return or Florida took one to the house. The next drive, Cam Ward, cool, calm, and collected, bang, 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 touchdown, Miami. Like, he looked really flipping good. And I'll tell you this.
He was just on the field getting $100 super chats left and right.
Cam, he was banging a lot, dude.
Bang, bang,
bang,
Patrick
bang.
B, bang.
What's up, Wolf? Never been so upset in fantasy. Built my whole team around Bowers in 9th keeper round. Dude took him right at the turn before me. I have been in situations like that, and I know how frustrating it can be. Where, again, I'm in like a 2-quarterback league for my family fantasy football league, and I didn't take any QBs, which I never do. Like, if I'm in that league, I usually take a quarterback at least one in the top 3 rounds. This year, I went Christian McCaffrey. I had picked 5. I took McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I know he's a Chief, but in 3rd round, I like the value there. And I was going to take Kyler Murray in like the 7th round. Then I remembered Trace had a pick on him, so I was like, maybe I'll hold off a little bit. Waited one more round, and then I ended up getting Jaden Daniels. I'll say this: you're not going to lose your draft because of this, but I can understand the frustration. I will admit this. I think the only Raiders players that I ended up getting, I got Daniel Carlson in one league.
I have Zamir White.
I have the Raiders defense in both my leagues. I said, you know what? I'm going to take the Raiders defense.
I always wait last round for defense.
I did. That was my last pick.
Okay.
Last pick was Raiders defense.
If you pick kicker or defense, anything but the final 2 rounds of your draft, you're a cop. Like, I don't
disagree with that.
How are you like, you know what? I don't want to get another wide receiver or stash a running back or stash anybody or maybe get somebody. I want to take a kicker in the 12th round.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people think of it as I got to build my starting lineup instead of, you're not going to win your league because of a kicker. You're not going to win your league because of a defense. But you might be able to win your league on a wide receiver or a running back that ends up popping off that you end up taking as a backup. That's my fantasy football advice.
Yeah.
Okay, fantasy football is how I got into this industry. So the weekend that I just had, I love fantasy. I miss not being able to do it the way that I used to do it, just from like a content standpoint. But if I did fantasy football, I wouldn't be able to do the Raiders.
There's
sport.
2 things Mitch loves: football, and he likes fantasies.
There you go. Drew, also salami. Watch
Raiola, the Nebraska quarterback,
again,
the one who's been compared to Mahomes.
Oh, okay. This is on my list of to-dos where I watched a lot of college football this weekend, and I watched realistically nothing but quarterbacks. Like, there were certain games where I watched the game itself, like the USC LSU game. I think was probably my favorite game from over the weekend. But I watched Georgia for Carson Beck. I watched, Miami for Cam Ward, Texas for Quinn Ewers.
North Texas.
I watched Fafita. Fafita looked pretty good, man.
Woo, Fafita.
Fafita looked the Boston College quarterback yesterday. He looked pretty damn good. But like I'll do some homework. This was one that I was going to do. Husker Raider for him. I got a message from Brandon Jasper. It was like, yo, this kid looks like the real deal.
He looks good.
I got to watch it.
He looks good.
He just looks too much like Mahomes.
What about Chandler Morris?
I got to watch it. I don't know.
UNT quarterback.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch it just for you, but I feel like QBs is where I make my living.
Big luck, DJ Uyunglele. So out.
Hate to tell you.
I
mean, I will say this. I thought DJU would at least have a chance to get drafted. We had this debate like 3 weeks ago, and you were like, no way is he getting drafted. I think you're right.
He will be the Louisiana Tech quarterback next season. He's going.
He's got to go somewhere else.
He's going small D1 pro. He will be the Tulsa, Toledo, App State quarterback going into next year.
See, I thought he was going to have a career like a Joe Milton, where good athlete. Now, Milton's a better athlete. I think the arm strength is the only reason why I'm saying this, but he's going to have to go somewhere, and he's going to have to He should have stayed at Oregon State, I think, dude.
I mean, the biggest game that we need to watch this week, that you need to watch maybe this week, Quinn Ewers, Texas versus Michigan.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I am so upset that, which I'm excited to be in North Carolina. I don't want to get it twisted there, but being down here for that game would be amazing. Our boss is a Michigan guy, and obviously Texas down here is everything. Also, FLAC, shout out to you, Drew. Chance, get a wide receiver from the Falcons. Let Kirk cook for you. Hang on. Get a wide receiver.
Oh, he's talking about in fantasy.
Fantasy? I mean, I have Kirk Cousins as my – so, again, 2-quarterback league. I have Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers as, like, my second QBs.
I keep on waffling, and I never take him in drafts. I always end up passing, and then he gets taken. Kyle Pitts. I don't know if I should take Kyle Pitts or not. My heart is like –
Kyle Pitts and Drake London are the same player where they are unbelievable, but I don't – until I see it.
I'd rather take Drake London. Drake London's actually proven a little bit that he can be a good wide receiver.
For fantasy, though, where he's going, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking Drake London where he was being drafted. And I think a lot of people are just, expecting the upside there with Kirk Cousins, which I get it. Like, the Falcons have, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson.
Drake, la, la, la.
Like, in my my other fantasy, I got Christian McCaffrey and Bijan. And I picked number 2 in a PPR
I picked number 2, and I got – where?
I couldn't believe Bijan fell to me. Venom Sosa.
This is my
Waza.
This is my number 2. I have
number 2.
Dak Prescott as quarterback.
Yep.
Future Raiders quarterback. Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I have Mike Evans.
Can I tell you, I took Dak as well for this just so I could watch Dak a lot.
Mike Evans and Marvin Harrison Jr. are my wide receivers.
Okay.
Dallas Goedert is my tight end.
I like it.
Zamir White in my flex. Saints D. And Lions kicker.
There's only one spot where you can put – if you have Zamir in the flex, I mean, you're feeling good.
So, I don't know who to play. Maybe the chat can help me. Who do I play week 1 in the flex? I want to ask Marshall, but I think he might be a little biased. Do I play Zamir White or Malik Neighbors?
PPR or standard?
PPR.
Honestly, I'd probably go with Malik Neighbors, and I only say that because unless he's getting matched up against Stephon Gilmore, the biggest weakness for Minnesota is their cornerbacks. If he gets matched up against Stephon Gilmore, I do think that that's actually a difficult matchup. If he doesn't, I'd go Neighbors. I'd also say, though, if you need like a safe 10 points, that's going to be Zamir White. Yeah. Compared to if you need more upside, I'd probably go with Malik.
Oh, there we go.
Roger, what the F is a Malik Neighbors? When you spell it like that, I agree. I have no idea. Malik Neighbors, though, that guy's legit.
Marshy.
That guy's pretty legit.
Do I start Malik Neighbors week 1?
Thank you, Rebel. Yeah, get rid of the bots. Anytime you guys see bots, Rebel now, he's in charge of getting rid of those guys. So shout out to Rebel Montana.
Marshall was not very convincing. He said sure.
I mean, it's not a Malik Neighbors question. You're asking the guy who doesn't trust Daniel Jones, can I trust Daniel Jones to get Malik Neighbors the ball? That's the answer he gave you. Lord Cameron Abbott, I'm looking forward to see how Tucker is involved. He is dynamic, low-key MVP. I think he could be a low-key MVP for this Raiders team in a sense of like that secret weapon, where I've made a lot of shows around Trey Tucker, I think being that secret weapon. Antonio Pierce has spoke very highly of him. Also, if anybody wants to get their questions, comments on the show, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line. Trey Tucker, I want to see him in the pre-snap motion. I want to see him continue to extend plays, make big plays. And he's just got to be a guy that even if he doesn't have a big play, a guy that even if he doesn't light up the stat sheet, putting him out there in situations on the pre-snap motion, sending them deep, it's going to open up things for Jacoby, Brock, Michael, Davante, all these guys underneath. Zamir White, you're not going to be able to stack the box as much. And he's just got to be used sometimes as a decoy. And that's not a knock on Trey. It's just when Tucker's out there, you got to respect him. Because in a blink of an eye, he's running by you. He is a dynamic player. Let's go to my man, Cass Joey. I had a solid draft. Got Bowers, the Raiders D, Carlson, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Puka Nacua, Saquon Barkley. Might be my year again. Also, USC quarterback Moss has looked great in his last 2 games. Yeah, I know the bowl game Last year, he threw like 6 touchdowns or something like that. Bowl games are always a little bit different. But USC, I mean, quite frankly, I thought USC and LSU both looked at that they were ranked too low, that both teams looked like they should have been ranked a little bit higher. But for the USC quarterback, I mean, he was slinging the ball. Like, he was getting the ball out quickly. He looked like he was executing the offense well. And I don't want to make this comp just because he didn't turn out to be a very good, NFL QB, and he's got some stuff going on in the background. But like Stetson Bennett, like if the USC quarterback, who you're saying is what, Moss, if he can just be a game manager and go out there and not turn over the ball, he impressed me. He really did. He's got some big shoes to fill, obviously, with Caleb Williams, but sometimes you need to have that type of quarterback that can just be humble, go in there, do his job. And he did it, man. That was a hell of a football game. It really was. And a unbelievable atmosphere. Thugador, we haven't won in LA since 2020. We're due. Very due. Very, very due.
Thanks, COVID.
I also know that the nation's going to be traveling far and wide to go to this game. I expect a full blackout at SoFi. If it's not 70% Raiders fans, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. I will. If it's not 70% Raiders fans, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. We got one more super chat to get in here from Jerry, and then I say we get into today's show. You good with that?
I'm good with that.
You guys good with that? We're going to do one more super chat here from Jerry Aguirre, and then I'm going to get into my first segment, which is going to be a Raiders record prediction. I'm going to give you scores, everything, tell you what the Raiders record's going to finish this upcoming season. Then I got some bad news for Chargers fans. Then we got some players on the hot seat. 3 segments today here on the Raiders Report. And friendly reminder also to the 720 people that are watching, Chuggs is going to be live on Thursday for Chiefs-Ravens, so keep that in mind. Again, I got a flipping wedding that I got to go to this weekend. I'm excited because it's one of my best buddies, and I'm in the wedding. I'm a groomsman. But getting married week 1 of the NFL season it's definitely not the timing I was hoping for. But Chuggs is going to be live on Thursday. It's going to be him and Smitty, so make sure you guys tune in and have a good time with those guys.
It'll be a NFL season opening watch party / WWE event.
I'm in. $100 super chat, and Chuggs gets to choke slam Smitty, I think is what Smitty told me earlier.
Smitty said yes?
That's not going to happen, just so everyone knows.
$100 super chat, I hit Smitty with the Batista bomb.
What is that?
It's where you pick him up.
Oh, I was thinking like RKO.
Oh, an RKO? Smitty couldn't handle it.
Yeah, you're probably right there. You're probably right. I drafted Bowers. Is he going to play against the Chargers? I anticipate that he ends up playing. You're not going to get an update on Bowers probably until tomorrow. I am concerned. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know if he's going to be worth starting week 1 just because he hasn't gotten as much playing time, especially over the past 2 weeks. And I know that they don't want to risk further injuring him anymore. If he's 100%, then my answer is, yeah, he's probably going to be somewhere around 4 catches, 45 yards. You're hoping that he finds pay dirt is what I would project for Bowers on a weekly basis. But, like, I don't know if that's the guy I'd want to start week 1 at my tight end
Actually,
position. What?
I have to do one more thing.
They also have Derwin James, who's done a really good job against tight ends in his career, depending on how they use him. It's totally different defense, so it's a little bit different. But
wait.
Something to monitor.
I'll be right back.
What do you got? You're leaving me?
Just give me one.
All right. Chuggs is saying I'll be right back. So coming up here on today's show, my final record prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders. Then probably coming up here in about 30 minutes or so, Davante Adams, he's going to go off against the Chargers, and I'm going to tell you why. And then I got probably in an hour from now, Raiders hot seat candidates. 5 players that are on the hot seat. 5 players that, not that like they're going to lose their job or that they're going to get cut or that they're going to get traded, but 5 players that there's a lot of attention on them right now, and they need to play well in week 1. Got to play well in week 1. What up, Gurge? What up, Benham Sosa? Fishing up a storm. If you want a shout out here on the show, spam Raiders down below. Chance-tastic Mitch, your thoughts on Jackson Dart? Funny enough, I actually went to a bar to go watch this game. So one of Alex's friends, she was an Ole Miss grad. And I go, who's Ole Miss playing? She was like, Furman. And I go, This game's going to be 100-0. And when I saw it was like 52-0 at halftime, my point is I'm not going to make a take on Jackson Dart based on the way he performed against Furman. I need to see more. There's certain games where you can take some things that you learn. That's not going to be one of them. What up, K-Rock? What up, West Coast Spartan? Mama tried Raider. Glenn Cardin's down below. Raider Rudy.
All right.
Early riser. What do you got over there?
This is a gift from Taino.
Okay. So Taino Raider hooked up Chuggs with a gift.
And he said I have to open it on the stream.
Okay.
So this is me opening it on the stream.
Full stream ahead. I don't know what this is going to be. No idea.
All right.
How heavy is it? 3 pounds? A pound? It should tell you.
Maybe a pound and a half. Oh, it should tell.
I was going to say.
Does it say it on here?
I believe it does. Does it
4
not?
pounds.
4 pounds?
Way off.
I was going to say. I'm pretty sure it tells you. That's like Chuggs, like looking at, you buy some food, and I'm like, how many calories is in that? And you just, I think it's probably
15. I got a double cheeseburger, so maybe 30.
Maybe 50 calories. It's probably not that much.
All right.
Jamal said, give me Hendon Hooker ASAP.
Here we go.
Doesn't sound like he's leaving Detroit. What do we got?
I got paper.
Wow, dude, that's sick. Taino, you shouldn't have.
Bubble wrap.
Bubble
I
wrap?
will be popping all of these individually.
I like it. If I get bubble wrap, I give it to Chuck. Dude goes wild. It's a box inside of a box.
Okay.
Now I'm getting worried.
Boxception.
Uh-oh. It's like the mystery box. What if this is a boat?
What if there's another box inside of this?
If there's another box inside of that, I don't know if I can take this anymore. What's up, G-Money? Jake
right.
the Snake, so Taino Raider, who we hung out with back on August 14th. He's also the one that gave us the Raiders belt. Shout out to Taino, Silver and Black Hills. Got Chuggs something. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
What is that?
Oh. Oh. This is pretty badass.
I can't tell what it is.
It's a customized Raiders boot.
Bro, that's actually insane.
Bruh.
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Please enjoy your new pimp boot made by Elite Expressions. Feel free to drink from it, but don't submerge it in water or place it in the dishwasher. Spot cleaning the outside with mild soap and water is fine. This glass holds 1 liter of beer. Enjoy.
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Look at this. So he's got Chuggs on it, which, do you know what that symbol is?
That's the Taino.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure. Because he sent me that picture. He goes, I'll give you a hint. Dude, I'm telling you this right now. That's a cool boot. We're going to have to get more of these. There's a QR code underneath here. I say we get one for every NFL team. Dude, that's amazing. There you go. We got our brand new boot.
It's shiny.
It's beautiful. Say we put a chain on that.
You know what?
What?
Maybe I need to just rinse it out first, but I kind of want to test it out.
I say you test it out Thursday. Game day, we're going to be rooting for the Ravens against the Chiefs. If you want the Chiefs to win on Thursday, it's going to be in the wrong spot. Thursday.
Doug from a 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 Doug.
Dude, that's sick, man.
Doug from a,
that's not what I anticipated. We got to get more of those. That's really cool. Shout out to Taino. Can I get some Tainos down below? Taino. Bro, that thing's sick, man.
Taino.
Venom Sosa, don't effing drop it. I'll tell you that. That's going to be the problem. It's going to be some crazy Thursday night show or...
Well, it's not hot, so...
Drop it like it's hot. Win it. How to get...
What a legend.
Oh, man. Listen to this NFL news. The Seahawks hosted Kadarius Toney. I can't even believe Kadarius Toney is still doing things.
What even is a Kadarius
What
Toney?
is a Kadarius Toney? Also, the Raiders just released their depth chart, which there's nothing really on it that I would say is even worth noting. Jackson Powers-Johnson, I don't know if you guys saw, he changed his number to 58 over the weekend, which I thought was kind of interesting. Besides that, I mean, when I tell you there is nothing really surprising here, there's really nothing surprising. Yep, nothing. There's nothing there. It's all pretty standard stuff. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into our first segment here, final record prediction here on the Raiders Report. I'm going to go through every single game on the upcoming schedule. I'm going to tell you how much or how little the Raiders are going to win by. And then after that, we have another segment of why I think Davante Adams is just going to absolutely torch the Chargers. And then another segment of the Raiders' hot seat candidates. That's all coming up here on today's show.
We have 2 more Super Chats just to get to real quick.
I like it. Get rid of those bots. Does Laube get some touches versus the Chargers? If Laube gets any touches in this game, I'm going to say it's probably on special teams. I had a very high hope for Dylan Laube. I think a lot of us Raider fans had some high hopes for Laube. But based on some of the information that I've been given just in the last 2 weeks, I would be pretty surprised if Laube gets in the game. Like, from a pass-catching situation. Maybe gets a special teams opportunity, but that fumble in that final preseason game, they like what they've seen out of Amir Abdullah. They have a lot of confidence in Alexander Madison. I'm actually going to say I don't know if Laube does, I would put the more or less than at 2.5 touches. Not a lot of touches. Cruising. I come out on Raiders shorts with Crosby jerseys. LFG, I'm so tempted to go to the game. Why not? Go to the game. I mean, here's the thing. If you're close to the game, I'll also say this. If you can't actually go to the game, I would go to SoFi, and I would at least be a part of, like, the tailgating, the game day atmosphere, which is like what I've been telling people. If you can't go to Cary, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, and hang out with Chuggs and I this weekend, then you better get your butt over to SoFi. And you better get over there to make sure that we black out SoFi Stadium. Cruising all day, I would love to be able to go to, though. I hear you. Crash Dog, what's up, fam? Crash Dog, you haven't missed anything yet. We're about to get into the very first segment around the Raiders' record prediction. Honestly, probably the coolest thing, is there a new deal for Trent Williams?
That was this morning.
Okay. I just didn't see the figures on it. I would say right now the biggest thing that happened today so far is Taino got Chuggs a brand new Raiders boot. And I'm actually amazed on how heavy this thing is. This thing is heavy.
Oh, yeah.
This is cool.
Heavy as the head that wears the crown.
Dude, this is sick, man. We gotta get another one. That's going to be your boot all year long, and I don't think you can get rid of that, though. Like, we're keeping that. Your pinky's up. You're so bougie. It even matches. It matches. Dude, you look good. Taino, seriously, man.
Okay, yeah. And then also, Taino wanted me to let y'all know where y'all could get it. It's Elite Expressions on Etsy. Joyce. If they mention Taino, if you mention Taino, then they will get you a discount and only pay $250 for the boot.
Okay.
For the customized.
Customized?
Okay.
Good to know.
Elite Expressions. Shout out.
Okay. Taino, yeah, he just sent me the same exact message. I got you. We got you, Taino. I think we should do that like one, maybe not this Thursday night football because it's the game 1. But how about this? I'll make a special deal, Taino, so just be on the lookout for not this Thursday, but next Thursday night football. And we'll show some love to the people that were able to make that boot for us. So that's cool. Every time next weekend, Chuggs or I do a boot, we're going to do something special for them. Also, I think that, did the deal just come through, though, the contract restructure, or has that been done for Trent Williams?
face looks really chill, so I think it's been done.
It's been done? Okay. I mean, this says Garofolo, the new deal for 49ers left tackle Trent Williams includes $48 million fully guaranteed at signing. He gets a $25.69 million signing bonus. This moves him to $103 million in guarantees since joining the Niners.
I think the agreement came this morning, and then we're just getting more details.
More details of it? Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember seeing those numbers.
Chase did a video early this morning. I'm talking probably while he's working out.
I got you. That's probably true. Chuggs, you're going to get mad at me. Let me go pee before I get into this segment here. Also, Jake the Snake, who cooks a better steak between y'all? Do you think you cook a better steak than I do? On the grill, I would say you.
Do you have a grill?
No.
Well, I would say it's me.
I'm really good, I think, at cooking on a pan, stovetop. That's my 2 cents. All right, let me go pee real quick.
All right. Super chat from Mo. I'll be at the game, blacked out. Can't wait. Can't wait. Let's go. Love to see it. Love to see it. Going to get into some Raiders news and rumors here in just a moment. Talking about final record prediction. Yeah. 3 years, $82.66 million for there we go. That's a little better. 82.66 million over 3 years for Trent Williams. Good left tackle. They needed him this season. They needed him. I'll buy my ticket this weekend, says Rebel. Hey, with the Gametime app, you can wait until somewhat near the last second before game time, and I bet you can still get really cheap tickets, Rebel. If you wait maybe an hour, 30 minutes before game time, check on the Gametime app. I doubt week 1 is going to be sold out at SoFi. I think you could probably get some really good deals if you wait. Just be patient. You got to wait. You got to wait. You just got to wait. Let's see. Do we have any more hashtag Raiders questions for you? I think the last one I saw was from Jake Sir, but he's acting crazy. Reminder, hashtag Raiders, super chat to get on the show. Oh, True Raider. Oh, man. Everybody say bye to True Raider. He sucks. Bye, True Raider. Looks like you're not a True Raider. I don't know. True Raider had to, be a little wuss. I wanted to say what I really thinking, but True Raider, suck it.
I don't know who that is.
He said we were major D-bags was his first comment. So, really nice guy.
Major D-bag. Also,
that's Lieutenant D-bag to you.
Matthew Yoakum just messaged me and said that he accidentally got put in timeout, which sometimes, and I'll say this, guys, this is probably the time of the year where this stuff happens more than ever. And it happens. So if you ever get put in timeout, first off, it's either A, you were saying some radical stuff, and I got to give a big shout out here to Yoakum, who is a OG Raiders Report watcher, and he's like, I didn't say anything bad. Why do they get put in timeout?
Also,
sometimes it happens when we're trying to block a bot or we're trying to put a bot in timeout, and just because the comments are coming in so quickly, and if Jeremy and I go to click on it at the exact same time, maybe exact same time as Rebel who's in the chat, it could be an accident. So if it ends up happening to you, long story short, don't be afraid to hit me up on social media. Like Yoakum ended up saying, he sent me $1 on Venmo, which, Matthew, I'll send it right back. If that ends up happening, you guys can do that. Just let me know. It's the only way I'm going to be able to know. Also, let's just do a better job this season of, we're all Raider fans here, so True Raider, I don't know what's going on with you, man. At the end of the day, if we're on the same side, right? Let's just be friends.
He does have one subscriber, so his mom is watching.
Okay. Let's just same team, right? I've never met another fan base that fights each other more than a Raiders team. I'm not kidding you. We have a bunch of different teams here at Chat Sports. They don't argue and fight the way we do. We're on the same team. We're on the same team, man. Yep. Okay.
All right. First segment, final record prediction for Mitchell Renz. I'm staying steady on mine.
Okay.
You'll see Mitch on his. I'm keeping 10-6-1 for the Raiders this year.
Never change, Chuggs.
You'll see Mitch's here in just one moment. Mitch, you ready to rock?
I am.
True Raiders podcast. I am not connected to that guy in any way, by the way.
Who?
True Raider podcast, which the guy we blocked, his name was just True Raider.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I saw True Raider podcast, and he's an OG watcher here. When you started saying that, I was like, I'm actually kind of surprised. Like, what happened? True Raider podcast, the real True Raider podcast.
The only True Raider in the chat right now.
Well, no, I mean, it's like one of those things where, again, you get to know certain names in the chat, which I'm sure you guys do as well. So, like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, man, that's kind of surprising.
It might be.
What?
There's a non-zero chance that that's what it is, Jake.
All right. Yeah. I'm not going to say no. It's also, that would be an insult he would make. You're a D-bag. Coming up, final Raiders record prediction. Let's get into it right now. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. And if you don't hit that subscribe button right now, the Raiders, they're going to finish in last place in the AFC West. And here's the thing. I know that we get picked to finish in last every single year, and yet doesn't happen. We're going to have another solid year. I hope that we can make the playoffs. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to be going through every single Raiders game this upcoming season. I'm going to tell you whether or not the Silver and Black are going to win, lose, maybe tie, and I'm going to give you the score predictions for each one of those games. If you don't already know, Chuggs and I, we go live for every single Raiders game this season, so if you want to hang out with 100,000 Raider fans every week for Game Time, guess what? Hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. So this is going to be my final Raiders record prediction. I did a video like this probably about 3 months ago, and I'll admit, when I did that video 3 months ago, I also did it with the mindset of Gardner Minshew was going to be the Raiders starting quarterback. So for a lot of the OGs that watch this show in May, it's probably not going to be all that much different. Though, there's a few games that I did switch around here a little bit. But this is where the Raiders season, to me, is a big turning point. You got to be, at worst, 4-5 during the Raiders bye week, or else you could see this team potentially start selling off some players. Week 13, Black Friday game, monster. And then you finish it off here with Jags, Saints, and Chargers. To me, if the Raiders have any chance of making the playoffs this season, you got to win these 3 games right here. You got to win those final 3 games. Extremely, extremely important. So here's your opportunity to go down. Look into those crystal balls of yours. I know Taino Raider just said, Mitch, skip the line. Guess what, Taino? I'm going to skip the line, and I want you guys to skip the line. Go down in the comments right now. Predict the Raiders' record this season. I have been saying all offseason 9-8. Is that going to come true on this video? You guys are about to find out here. So here we go. Week 1 against the Chargers. I should actually also say this. I did a Madden simulation for every single one of these games during the offseason. So if you want to check out a Madden sim, if you look up Raiders versus Chargers, Raiders versus Ravens, Raiders versus Panthers, so on and so forth, you're going to be able to see a full Madden simulation of all those games. Week 1 at SoFi Stadium. Give me the Silver and Black. I got 24-21. I do think this is going to be a lot closer of a football game than some people out there think. Cash Joey said that this is going to be a blowout. We got to win in SoFi. We got to win in Los Angeles. Hell, we haven't won in Los Angeles since 2020. So this is a big game for Antonio Pierce. It's also a big game for the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, but I believe in the Raiders, and I believe that we're just the better team overall. Let's go to week 2. Another tough game on the road in Baltimore. One of the reasons why I said that Gardner Minshew was the right choice to be the Raiders starting quarterback is because I believe in Minshew's ability to go on the road and succeed more than I do Aiden. On top of that, with some of the Raiders' offensive line concerns, I think it just made more sense. Here's the real thing, though. Against the Ravens on the road, it's one of the best teams in the NFL. I have the Silver and Black losing this one 27-20. This is going to be a game that you're going to learn a lot about the Raiders, where the Chargers are one thing. how we play against the Ravens, how we match up. I think this is a good benchmark to see how good this team truly is. Let's go to week 3, the home opener at Allegiant Stadium. And if anybody was at Allegiant Stadium over the weekend, I'll tell you what, that LSU-USC atmosphere, based on what I heard, was unbelievable. We got to bring that type of atmosphere every single week at Allegiant Stadium. You got Bryce Young, got a brand new offensive line, and I know that the Panthers struggled last season. I do think that they're going to be a better football team this season, but they're not going to be good enough to beat the Raiders in week 3. Give me them 23-17 in another game that's going to be close. Like, there's not going to be many games this season where the Raiders get blown out or the Raiders do the blowing out. Giggity. Why? Because of the defense, and I really do believe in that. I got a full-on LOL from Chuggs, but it doesn't happen often. Week 4 against the Cleveland Browns. I want to know how healthy Deshaun Watson is at this point, because this is a QB for whatever reason. I feel like he's always dealing with a shoulder injury. Is Nick Chubb going to be playing in this game? This is a really good defensive line. Max Crosby up against Myles Garrett. Like, legitimately, this is going to be the 2 best players, I think, on defense in the NFL. Chubb's out until week 5, right? He's out until week 5. Yep, okay, that's on me. Anyway, I'm going to go for this matchup here. Another low-scoring game for the Raiders, but I'm going to have the Browns just barely beating us in this one, 24-20. If the Raiders can get a lead against a team like Cleveland, right, and they can make them very one-dimensional, that's what you're going to need to do, and the Raiders need to do that for majority of their games this upcoming season. So right now, as it stands, we are 2-2 going into week 5 up against the Broncos. Before I give you who I think is going to win that game, we're going to beat the Broncos. I got to tell you about our sponsor, Gametime. Last-minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. Football, it's so freaking back, baby. And Gametime is the perfect app for Raider Nation and all NFL fans. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. That last-minute ticket's the lowest price guaranteed. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So for me, I wanted to be able to show you guys some of the tickets that I was literally just looking at on Gametime, and I told Chuggs, I go, dude, do you see these awesome deals that are happening right now? So I have my, first off, the city set to Los Angeles. So whatever city like you're planning on going to, like Los Angeles, Chuggs and I are going to be going to North Carolina. That's really important to do. But when you go to Gametime and then you start looking at the prices of like these tickets, right? Because I want you to look at the deals that are going on with the Gametime picks, the super deals especially, which you guys can kind of see from top to bottom. So when I go to Raiders versus Chargers, and I have a screenshot of it, Chuggs, which you guys can see on the left, is like the Stadium Bowl, and then underneath that picture you can see for $260, that's the super deal. Also now, like I'm on the app right now, they have a brand new super deal that is in the top 1 percentile, $451 for C127 row 13. I love it because you can see all of like the deals. You can also see like where you're going to be sitting. And once you click into the deal, you can kind of get an even closer look at it. So one of the things I love is the all-in pricing. You can see it says $260 including fees, which again, I like being able to use Gametime because I can just see exactly what I'm going to get as soon as I hit to the checkout line, because what I don't want is thinking I'm going to pay $130, and then I go to the checkout line after fees, taxes, all that other BS, and it's $200. That's not going to happen with Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's go to Week 5 up against the Denver Broncos in Mile High. The last time that the Broncos beat the Raiders, I'm going to keep saying it, December 29th, 2019. Tell me what you were doing during that time. The Broncos have never beaten the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's not going to change this season. Give me the Raiders 23-13. I can't wait to see all this Bo Nix hype really get silenced quickly during this season. I think the Broncos are arguably the worst football team in the NFL this season. I'm not afraid to say it. I do. I think they are one of the worst teams in the NFL this season. The Raiders are going to win. This would be 9 straight games against the Donkeys. Let's go to Week 6 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game, I kind of get like a little bit of bad deja vu. Chuggs and I were in Vegas last season when the Raiders played the Steelers. Sunday Night Football in Allegiant Stadium. And I really want to be able to sit up here and say that this is going to be a revenge game, but this is going to be another really hard-fought football game. And I don't want to say that it's like a letdown game, but coming off a AFC West divisional game, then you go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do have the Steelers winning this one 17-14, but this is another pride game for the Raiders in terms of Steelers fans travel very, very well. I might even say that there were more Steelers fans at the Raiders game last season. We got to make sure that that is not the case for this season. Let's go to Week 7 on the road against the Rams. I do think that this is another road game for the Raiders where I anticipate the Silver and Black to have more fans at this Rams game than the Rams actually do. And because of that, for a lot of people that watched my old video that I did about my Raiders record prediction, I had the Rams originally winning. Well, guess what? I'm going to go with the Raiders to win this game 23-21 in another close game. I do think that the Rams could be a sneaky pick to actually win the NFC West with all the extra BS drama going on around the San Francisco 49ers. But because this is such a big game in Los Angeles and the Raiders know, like, you got to win this game before you go up against Kansas City, I think it just means a little bit more. For that reason, we're 4-3 entering Week 8 against Kansas City. Now, when you play at home, that's usually an advantage. Though when the Raiders have played the Chiefs this season and they've been at home, not this season, since moving to Vegas, it hasn't been an advantage. The Raiders have actually played better in Arrowhead since going to Vegas, and because of that reason, I'm just going to say that the Raiders are going to lose this game 31-21. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, right? If you lose to the Ravens and you lose to the Chiefs, again, it's a little bit of a benchmark to at least see where you're at, but Patrick Mahomes is the best on the planet, and I'm hoping that we can slow them down, but if you let the Chiefs put up 31, you're not winning that game. The only way you're beating the Chiefs this season, as far as I'm concerned, if you're the Raiders, is if you hold them to under 21 points. Hold them under the 3 touchdowns. So we are 4-4 after Week 8. I got to know, are you going to a Raiders game this season? I had a Raider fan when we were doing our show live on Tuesday. Gilbert Moreno said, I just got my ticket to the game last night. If you are going to the game, let me know down below which games you're going to. Like Chuggs and I, we're going to be out in North Carolina this weekend for a Raiders event, but there's also going to be times where I hope that I have the opportunity to be able to go out and watch an actual Raiders game in Las Vegas, to be able to hang out with the nation. Maybe not actually watch the game, but go out there for at least the pregame and all that, because we do watch parties every single week. Let's go to Week 9 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and right now the Raiders are 4-4. You got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, will Jamar Chase be there with all the drama that's going on right now at the time that I'm recording this video? That one's still a little bit TBD, but at Cincinnati, I'm going to go with Cincinnati to win this one. The Bengals 31-28, which then puts the Raiders at 4-5 going into the bye week. I've said this 100 times. The Raiders have to be 4-5. They cannot be any worse than that. I do think if the Raiders were 3-6 going into the bye, that you would consider potentially trading Davante Adams. If you were 4-5 and the way that this schedule kind of rounds out, I don't think that AP and I don't think that Tom Telesco do anything wild there. But, like, the losses that we have, again, there's 5 losses down there below against a great Bengals team, a great Chiefs team, a great Ravens team. Those are 3 really tough football games. And I also know the Raiders, they're going to win a game that they shouldn't win, but they're also probably going to lose a game or 2 that they should win. Let's go to Week 11 on the road against Miami. If this was a home game, I'd pick the Raiders to win. But the Dolphins, you got to give them credit, are a much better football team at home. And because of that, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here to win this one. Like, I'm telling you right now, I'm making this record prediction, and I'm panicking. Because I know if the Raiders, if they're 4-6 on the season, I'm starting to get really, really nervous of where this season is about to go. But I got to stay true to y'all. I got the Dolphins winning this game. Let's go to Week 12 against the Broncos. I don't even know why I'm asking or want you guys to think that you don't know where I'm going to go. I promise you this, until this team proves that they can take care of business up against the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm picking the Raiders to win every single time. And every single Raider fan should do the exact same. Give me the dub, 28-15, up against Blow Knicks in a blowout performance, 28-15 for the Raiders. And then, maybe the game that I'm the most excited for this season, that's not the game that's about to be coming up here. Black Friday, Raiders on the road against Kansas City. And I'm going to get some chuckles probably from the Chat Sports studios out there. But you know what? Since I've been doing this show, when the Raiders have gone to Arrowhead, they have played much, much better. And I think that this is going to be one of those games where they're going to be the tougher football team, and they're going to get a dub. Give me the Raiders 21-20 against the Chiefs. If the Raiders can beat Kansas City and Aiden O'Connell does complete a pass for 3 quarters, why is it impossible? We can take care of business against the Chiefs. And sometimes it doesn't come down to anything besides the tougher football team. And the Raiders are going to be the tougher football team, especially on Black Friday. Before I get into the final games here, we're sitting at 6-6. Will the Raiders make the playoffs? You guys can let me know down below. But we have an awesome event going down this weekend. Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be out in North Carolina, and I want some people to sign up for the Week 1 Tee-Off event. Chatsports.com/Topgolf is the link. And if you don't know, if you wanted to go to Topgolf for 1 hour, it would cost you $96. Or you can buy a raffle ticket for $20, and that raffle ticket gives you the opportunity to hang out with Jeremy Chuggs and I, a bunch of other Raiders people as well, for up to 3 hours. And on top of that, you get free appetizers. So, like, you can get your own food. You can get your own drinks. We're going to have deals. Also, they're going to have really sick raffle prizes. So if anybody is planning on, even if you're not a golfer, I don't like golf, but I like hanging out with Raider fans. I like being able to go have a drink or two, and I'm going to hit the shit out of some golf balls. If you want to hang out with Jeremy and I this Saturday night, September 7th, chatsports.com/Topgolf. Get 1 raffle ticket for $20, and it gives you the opportunity to hang out with us for 3 hours. Realistically, it's probably like a $450 value that you're going to be able to get for $20. Or you can get 10 tickets for $100. I want some more people to sign up because it's going to be a hell of an event. Let's go to Week 14 now against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And on the road, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, that matchup does make me a little bit nervous. And I think in general, the Bucs are going to be one of those teams that a lot of people sleep on. And I could just see, and the reason why, you know, again, you're going to win a game that maybe you shouldn't win. You're going to lose a game that maybe you shouldn't lose. And this is that game where I have the Raiders losing 28-20 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you're coming off a high, beating Kansas City on Black Friday, sometimes you get humbled a little bit. And unfortunately, I think this is a game that we're going to get humbled. Let's now go to Monday Night Football. And this is a game that I think could look very different. If Kirk Cousins is the QB, what if Michael Penix Jr. is the quarterback? Because I actually don't think that that's an impossible thing to think about. And they got a lot of talent on both sides of the football. You got to give Atlanta credit. They've done a lot of in their power to really revamp both sides of that football. And because of that, I want to say that the Raiders are going to get revenge, because I can remember one of the worst games I ever saw was it 2-3 years ago? The Raiders went into Atlanta and they lost like 42-6. It made me literally sick to my stomach watching that game. But it's a tough game. I'm going to go with the Falcons to win this one, 30-21 in Vegas. And at this point, you're sitting there at 6-8. And Chuggs and I were having a conversation before the show started, and he goes, if they're 6-8 right now, do you want them to win and try to make the playoffs at 6-8, or would you rather them lose and try to get a better quarterback? I will say a lot of the quarterbacks that we saw in the first week of college football were very impressive, but Antonio Pierce is not the coach. This is not a team. This is not a situation where we can go in and say Antonio Pierce is guaranteed to come back. And the moment that you start tanking, you better not pay players millions of dollars, because there's so many other people in this world that work extremely hard and don't get paid that money. You got to go out there. You got to do your job. You got to go win a football game. So let's go to Week 16 now against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence, this has been a team that's done pretty well in the first half of the season and then has kind of fallen off as it goes down and down and down. For the Jaguars, I have the Raiders winning this game. Gardner Minshew going up against an old division rival. Maybe he wants a little bit of a revenge game. I know Minshew in that final game last season didn't quite get the numbers that he was looking for. This is going to be a good game, though, I think, for the Raiders. Again, another good test against a potential AFC wildcard team. Let's go to Week 17. The game that I don't care if you bleed silver and black. I don't care whatever, right? If you got a pulse and you're a Raider fan, this game's on your calendar. And it's on your calendar because of Derek Carr. And if the Raiders win, when the Raiders win, Derek Carr is going to be the very first quarterback in NFL history to lose to all 32 NFL teams, and the Raiders are going to get this dub 20-16, which puts us right now at an 8-8 record. This is a game right after Christmas, right before the New Year's, right before that ball drops, and I just really do believe that this is just going to be a game that's going to be an ugly football game, a lot of defense. Derek's going to be feeling his wave. He's going to be an emotional guy, and Raiders are going to get a win. Hopefully somebody goes past midfield, though. Let's go to Week 18 now, the final game against the Chargers, and I want to sit up here and say that I think that the Raiders have an opportunity to make the playoffs at 9-8. I would really like to be able to say that, but just the AFC in general is so stacked, and I think both teams are probably going to be right around this exact same area of, I don't think the Chargers are as bad as the Broncos, but I also don't think the Chargers are as good as what a lot of people say that they are. They think they're just picking Herbert and just picking Jim Harbaugh. I could see the Chargers being a team right now that's probably somewhere around 8-7 wins. Raiders are going to be somewhere in that picture as well. But this team, to me, I want to see another timeout. I want to see us go to the playoffs. That's really ultimately what I want here. So be real with me. Scale it from 1 to 100% chance you give the Raiders to make the playoffs. 1% chance. You don't think it's going to happen. 100, Mitch, it is a no-doubter 100% chance that the Raiders go to the playoffs. For me personally, I'm going to put this number at about 35% chance that the Raiders make the playoffs. And again, it's not because I don't think that the Raiders are a good football team. I do. I think the Raiders are actually one of the more underrated teams in the NFL because people only look at quarterback. They don't look at the entire team from top to bottom, and the Raiders are a pretty damn talented team, I think, on both sides of the football when you don't look at QB. But even with that being said, and I want somebody to go through and I want them to do their own record prediction, not only for the Raiders, but for all those AFC teams, because there is a lot of talent on the AFC. And I think even if you get to 10 wins, that doesn't put you at a 100% chance to make the playoffs. The only way you're going to have a legit chance to make the AFC wild card, 11 wins, you're in. 10 wins, that's still a chance that you don't make it. And as much as I believe in this football team, and as much as I want Gardner Minshew, Antonio Pierce to prove me wrong, I hope that every single person that's watching this show right now remembers me saying that the Raiders are going to go 9-8, that there's a 35% chance that they make the playoffs, and you send me this video and go, Mitch, you're wrong. Mitch, you're wrong. Bring it. I hope I am wrong. And if I am wrong, bring this video. Let's get it going. Put it on Old Takes Exposed. There is nothing that would make me happier than me being wrong about the Raiders missing the playoffs. All right, Chuggs, we got some prize picks, more or less than. I got Gardner Minshew, 216.5 passing yards against the Chargers. More or less. If you guys want to shout out here on the show, give me an M, give me an L. What do you think here, Gardner? I think this is a tough number.
This is tough.
This is a tough number here. What do you guys think?
I got to go more.
You got to go more?
For my mental health, I want it to be more so bad.
This is one of those numbers that, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Minshew threw for, like, 212 yards. Raiders got a dub. I actually get concerned if like, this is actually how I think of this. If it's less, I think the Raiders win. And the idea that you're able to run the rock. If Minshew's throwing for 300 yards, that tells me that I think we're, like, trying to play catch-up. Though, I think the magic number that I'll always say for the Raiders and this team this year, Minshew's got to be around 230, 240 passing yards. Again, 65 to 70% completion percentage, and that's going to put us in the right area. Lance Smith says more. G-Money, what's up, my man? Day, going to go with more. Rebel says 69 yards from Minshew. I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
I don't want that to happen.
That would be bad. That's probably the only time, Rebel, that I'm out on 69. Dylan says more. James K gives Zamir 280 carries this year. I would probably put Zamir White somewhere around 200 carries. I don't think he's going to surpass 260, 270. I think the only way that happens is if an injury to Alexander Madison, just because they do want to go with a running back by committee. But Zamir White's going to get some work, no doubt about it. Let's go to Adrian Rodriguez. 3 games this season. Chargers at SoFi, Rams at SoFi, and New Orleans. So those are the 3 games you're going to. Dude, that's a great stack right there. How would you rank those games? Like, I would rank it Saints, Chargers, Rams. And that's even like me, where going up against an AFC West team, obviously it does mean a lot more. But from the bragging rights standpoint, now if Derek doesn't play in that game, I actually think it's probably the worst game of the season for the Raiders.
Just like from a bro standpoint, you got to rank New Orleans number 1 because I'm pretty sure, and I was actually just about to ask you.
For your Super Bowl.
Well, no, I was.
Spencer Rattler's going to throw for 500 yards.
I was just about to say, guessing you're on the West Coast, going to be going to the New Orleans game. I got Trizzy Trace, our Saints host here. Is there anywhere in New Orleans that you would say Raiders fans need to check out? Like,
here. I'm
yes.
going to get water.
Bar or restaurant? Because I'm a big restaurant guy. I'm a little upset with the Vegas people. I told them a good restaurant rec. They went somewhere else.
Yeah.
They went to a buffet, which I'm not mad at.
So a fun bar to go to is called Lafitte's. It's like really, really sick. So it's at the very top of Bourbon Street. So you can kind of go there and then work your way down. They are the place that started with the frozen purple drink, which is very popular in New Orleans. It's like an old. So the story behind Lafitte's, it's an old pirate like bar that they have not renovated they haven't added lights. Like the only lights in there are candles and bar LEDs and stuff.
Yeah.
Really good drinks. They have a guy playing piano in the back. It's really cool. You can also go. Anywhere on Bourbon Street, you're going to have a good time. There's a really good po' boy shop, and it's called The Po' Boy Shop. If you guys, they do fried shrimp, fried fish. Literally whatever you want, whatever seafood you want.
Yeah.
And then you can't go to New Orleans without going to Cafe Du Monde to get a beignet and either coffee or chocolate milk.
I will say I went to
Cafe Du Monde.
I went to Cafe Du Monde. Me and Danny last summer, we road trip to Florida. We stopped in New Orleans on our way. Went to Cafe Du Monde, but they're actually telling me of another place further down that little Bourbon Street area where they have beignets filled with pralines.
Oh, dude, that
which
sounded
sounded amazing. We didn't go there because at first time I feel like you have to go to Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah, that's like the OG.
Triz, I got 2 questions for you. First one, Taino says, what week will Carr get benched? Honest question. If you don't think he will.
He will not get benched.
Second question.
The only reason somebody else starts is if he gets hurt.
Second question, what do you think of this boot? It's also from Taino.
I think that boot is the coolest boot I've ever seen.
Look at this thing.
That's sick.
That thing's unbelievable.
That's so cool.
By hand. No. It comes from
So he told me he didn't
Elite
use
Expressions.
any glue.
Oh, this isn't a good card for me to show up here. It's kind of.
Yeah, it's holographic. Dude, it's a sick boot. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It's so sick. I called it 2020. Baby.
That's dumb. Miggy, cheers, Mitch, Chuggs in the chat. We are all one nation. I think that's one thing that if anybody ever gets upset in the chat at anybody or whatever, just remember we are a friend group. We're a family here. I think we got to be able to always remember that. If you're on the same team, let's make sure we're
all
on the same
friends
team.
here, except for Sam. F Sam.
Always F Sam. Adrian, yes, I live in L.A. West Covina.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like for you, probably like the best game this year that you're probably the Saints because you're going to a new town. I love checking out new towns. I love exploring new cities.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big foodie, so
I'm with you there.
I gotta look up, and I gotta be ready to go to different food places whenever I go to a destination. I keep on trying to tell Mitch, which we've been so busy every time we go, but there's a restaurant in Vegas, Keithley approved, the best breakfast sandwich that I've ever had, called Bulldoggies. If you're in Vegas, not a sponsor, but
we got to make
delicious.
it out there.
For somebody that loves a breakfast Sammy with some sauces, they have some great sauces. They have like a honey sriracha sauce and like other sauces to put on top of it.
Fair enough.
So good.
Fair enough. All right, y'all. Let's get into Sergio, my bad. 5 games: Chargers, Panthers, Rams, Falcons, and New Orleans.
Wow.
You're going to all 5 of those? Dude, I'm jealous.
So
I would rank that New Orleans.
So you're going to first 2 weeks, Chargers and Panthers, or no.
1, 3, 7, 15, 17. Monday Night Football, that's going to be a fun game just because of the atmosphere alone there. I'd say New Orleans. I'd rank it New Orleans, Chargers, Falcons, Rams. Yeah, actually, I don't know. Panthers, that's the home opener. I'd probably rank the Panthers above the Rams game. The home opener is going to be fun. Yeah, man, that's Big Island. Jealous. A lot of jealousy going on right now. All right, let's get into the next segment coming up here on today's show, which is going to be around Davante Adams going off.
I also didn't read it, but Taino wrote me a little note on the back of it.
Which says,
Jeremy, some have pimp cups or chalices. You and I are the first ones to have pimp boots. Let's effing go Raiders. Love Taino.
Pimp boots. I mean, I feel like the first boot you do, you got to see if you can get Taino on the show. Taino, that's what I want you to do. Actually, I think the easiest way to do it, I'm not kidding you when I say this. Taino, record yourself doing a boot, send it to Jeremy. You give that video to Smitty on Thursday, and then we have the video of Taino doing a boot.
I love it.
Little boot race action. Kind of like
I love it.
Adrian, love to go out of the town. Went to Carr's last game in Pittsburgh.
Out of all the cities, though, I don't know if that's the best.
Pittsburgh's an okay city. Like,
I've never been like, oh yeah, like, let's take a trip. Pittsburgh.
I would say right now, like, the cities that
out of all the NFL cities, what do you think are the bottom 5 to like visit? Like, you're like, oh, I want to like go on a vacation there.
Kansas City is actually probably number 1. It's the least I'd want to. Honestly, I would never want to go to Kansas City. Pittsburgh's probably up there.
Cleveland?
Oh, yeah, Cleveland.
AFC North is kind of rough. You have Cleveland, Baltimore.
Oh, Christ, I don't want to go.
Pittsburgh.
All right, the AFC North. New England.
Well, that's Massachusetts. Depends on
I'll say this, though. If you go to Foxborough, you're like, where the hell am I? Like, if you go to Boston, Boston's a beautiful city. Foxborough, I'm not kidding you, there's nothing.
Somebody said Buffalo.
Buffalo's pretty. Though I've heard they have good chicken French up there.
Good chicken French.
That's worth it. It's worth it there.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I would want to go to Chicago. Yeah.
I would say the AFC
Green
North
Bay?
Green Bay? Yeah, I mean, what is there to do in Green Bay besides, I guess, go to a Packers game?
See, Nathan says Philly, yuck. The only reason why I'll say, I don't know about that. If you're a history buff, like, and you like to, I actually think Philly's a really cool city to go to for history.
I was just about to say the same thing as DC. This is a good Petey question. Petey would like this one. Petey.
He's not now, Chief.
Yeah. Legs are crossed, hands on head.
Yeah, it's
the end of the day for this guy.
I get you.
Arizona, I feel like, is a decent one.
I think Nashville's an awesome city to go to. Arizona's fine. Like, I think we got it.
Yeah, New Orleans is fun.
Dude, New Orleans would be a blast. New Orleans would be
I would say
top 5.
Top 10 has to be Vegas, LA, New Orleans, Miami, New York. Even though they're in New Jersey.
East Rutherford sucks.
It's in New Jersey.
Like, that area in general, it sucks. Like, it's not a good area. Like, if you want to go to New York, great. East Rutherford, that actually might be up there. Because the area where East Rutherford is, they tried to build a shopping mall, and they just stopped building it. Like, it's like, was supposed to be like the biggest mall in the United States. They just stopped building it, and it's right across the street from MetLife. You're just like, what am I looking at here? That one's pretty brutal. I mean, I've actually always wanted to go to Seattle.
Atlanta.
I've heard good things about Atlanta. I mean, we got to make a trip. We got to see how far we can go.
Little Magic City Wings.
What is that? I don't know that.
You don't know Lemon Pepper Lou?
Oh, now I do.
With the Magic City Wings?
Strip club? Okay. Yep, I've heard that story. I was like, that sounds familiar in the way you were saying it.
El Jefe says you don't want to go to Seattle, bro.
No?
I would want to see Seattle.
Again, I've never been there, so I would have like at least want to go. Somebody said San Francisco. I wouldn't want to go to San Francisco right now. Like, that's me being honest. I went to San Francisco a few years ago, and that was
enough?
Yeah, I mean, again, I went there once in 2019, and then I went there in 2021. Very different.
My cousin lives in a really bad part of San Francisco. It's called San Francisco.
That's actually.
I got a laugh from Chase out there.
Well, Chase,
he thought that was good.
I mean, you're only gonna pay $4,000 for rent.
No, she pays insane amount of rent, and not in a big apartment.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes.
She has a good job. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know who that douche is, but that guy's brutal. Okay, you ready?
I think I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right, so the show that we're about to get into here is, I believe that Davante Adams is just going to absolutely torch the Chargers, and I'm going to tell you a bunch of reasons why. If anybody has Davante Adams in fantasy football, he is a must-start this week. I'm just telling you that right now. Also, good night, Martin. I know it's late over there in London. London?
Have a cup of tea.
Cup of tea from Martin. Martin, good night to you, man.
The old lads.
We got 722 people here tuned into the show. If you haven't yet, make sure you click that like button right now. Believe it or not, it does help us out quite a bit. As soon as I get a thumbs up here from Mr. Chuggs.
Get those F-Sams in the chat. Get those F-Sams rolling.
All right, hang on. That was funny. The last time I talked to Zahn, I haven't talked to you in like a week. It's probably the longest I've gone without talking to Zahn. He's probably still looking for his bow nose hat. Literally, when I ran into him, like when we were out there in Vegas, he's like, I got to give Sam credit because every time that guy walks in without, like, we don't even have to say anything anymore. It's just a flutter of F-Sams. Like, it's every single time. Taino, Big Island, Duval. If you're a real one, give me an F-Sam down below. You ready? Chug says he's ready to go. Is this going to be a cold open or no? I don't remember. I don't think it is. Okay, cool. All right. Yep, I know. I got it in the right spot. All right, you guys ready? Davante Adams, he's going to torch the Chargers. I'm going to tell you why coming up right now. Davante Adams is going to torch the Chargers defense, which is bad news for Chargers fans out there. But very good news if you have Davante Adams in fantasy football this week. And I'm telling you, he's going to be a must start. And if you think that number 17 is just going to absolutely ruin the Chargers defense, spam 17 down below. It's going to be a big-time game. One of the reasons why, legitimately, I want this to happen so we can stop talking about those flipping Davante Adams trade rumors. So coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why Davante Adams is guaranteed to cook the Chargers this upcoming Sunday. It's week 1. We finally made it, and I'm excited to see 1, maybe 2. At the very end of today's show, I'm going to tell you what exactly Davante Adams' stat line is going to be. So the number 1 reason of why Tay is going to torch the Chargers, it's because every time he has put on this jersey here, he has torched the Chargers, which some of you are like, well, Mitch, it's a little bit different this season. It is a little bit different this season. We don't have Josh McDaniels anymore. If we can torch the Chargers with Davante, with Josh McDaniels, please tell me why we can't do it now. And I get it. Unproven Luke Getsy, Gardner Minshew. It's still going to happen. I mean, look at these numbers here. The 4 games that Davante Adams has gone up against the Chargers since being a Raider. The first game, 17-10, 141 and a touchdown. 12-8, 177 and 2. You guys can read. The bottom line is when you put those 4 games together, 54 targets, 34 grabs, 494 yards, and 4 touchdowns. On a per-game basis, that is 13.5 targets, 8.5 receptions, 123.5 yards, and a touchdown. If it can happen with Josh McDaniels, somebody please tell me why it can't happen in week 1 at SoFi Stadium. Let's go to number 2 here of why Davante is going to torch the Chargers. Adams is going to want revenge against them. And if you didn't see the whole story of Davante getting called garbage, and then he goes on, I want to say, Kay Adams' show, and is talking about the whole experience. And he just said, like, keep my name out your mouth. So the Chargers every single year, They their social media team's actually not bad compared to a lot of other teams. But this is one bit that I don't really understand, because if you just saw the fact that Davante torches you every single time, and I get you're calling him garbage, but doesn't that make you hot garbage then because he torches you every single time? Like, if you needed to give Davante more bulletin board material, if you needed to give him more of a reason to go out there and carry a chip on his shoulder, I don't really understand why you poke the bear. Now, if you're trying to go out poke the bear that's not Davante, maybe I can wrap my mind around that one. But for a guy that has absolutely embarrassed you since he's put on silver and black, and then you're going to go out and call him garbage, for Davante to talk about it, I know for a fact this game is in the back of his mind, and I know for a fact that the Raiders are going to do everything in their power to make sure they can go, you know what, that was probably dumb for the Chargers social media team to call him garbage. I got 3 more reasons coming up here why Davante is going to have a monstrous game up against the Chargers. But before I do, PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, and they're sponsoring today's show, so huge shout out to them. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, unlike other apps. PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the rollings roll in. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. So my picks for this upcoming game, I found some that I liked, and before I show you what I decided to do with Davante Adams, right now if you go on PrizePicks, it's more or less 72.5 receiving yards against the Chargers. I just got done telling you, this guy's averaging 123.5 receiving yards per game against the Chargers. So let me know down in the comments. Give me an M for more, give me an L for less. Here's the thing. If you're not typing M for more, you're definitely watching the wrong show, and you're going to lose some money. So I got Davante Adams more, 72.5 receiving yards. Give me Gardner Minshew, 7.5 rushing yards. Give me the more on that. I like that one a lot. Jacoby Myers, sleeper, 3.5 receptions. I took the more, and the only reason why I'm going to go less on 43.5 receiving yards for Brock Bowers is because we haven't seen him practice since the middle of August. And AP has said a few things this week last week, where he was like talking about Jackson Powers-Johnson maybe just slowly getting ramped up because he's missed a lot of time this offseason. I know the Raiders are confident in Michael Mayer. I know they love Davante. I know that they have a lot of confidence in Jacoby Trey Tucker. But because Brock Bowers hasn't been out there, I'm just going to go the less route. Now, I put $20 on this to win $200. And if you're like, Mitch, I want to ride with those picks because I agree with you, then go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS. You don't even need to win the 50. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's just guaranteed. So I've talked about PrizePicks a bunch on this show. If you agree with those picks, then hey, go put your money where your mouth is. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS. That link's available to everybody that's watching the show right now, down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Here we go. Number 3 reason why Davante is going to torch the Chargers. Tay's going to be a major focal point in this game for week 1. And I think there's a multitude of reasons why this is going to happen. One, it just needs to happen every week, right? And I feel dumb for even saying that Davante Adams needs to be a focal point of the Raiders offense. Like, it does. It feels dumb to say, but think about how many times you said that last season, right? With McDaniels, where you'd finish a game and you're like, how did Davante Adams only get 1 target that half? Or how does Davante have 1 catch for 4 yards right now in this football game? I know it's the first game for offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, but because it's the first game for Getsy, and because Getsy has really leaned on Davante this offseason, just due to the fact that those guys were together in Green Bay, I am a big believer that Tay is going to get some extra targets because also a guy like Brock Bowers hasn't been, healthy over the past few weeks. I also think that it's going to make Tay happy to get him right off the jump. I don't care what Antonio Pierce says, Tom Telesco, any other Raiders player. If you watch the Davante Adams Netflix series, Receiver, and you saw how frustrated he was not being involved in a game, then you're just lying to say like that didn't impact your thinking. If I'm the Raiders, you want to really shut up these trade rumors discussions. You want to shut up a lot of that. You make sure number 17 is a focal point. And again, like saying that he's going to be a focal point is not a crazy thing. If he's got to get 12 targets, there's never going to be a play that the Raiders target Davante Adams and I go, that's a dumb play. You want to target number 17? Do it as much as you possibly want. He's still one of the best receivers in the NFL. Let's go to number 4 here. Why Tay's going to torch the Chargers. Davante's entire family is usually in attendance at Chargers game. Now, obviously, I don't know if his family is going to be there. Not going to act like I do. But I do know this, that one of the reasons why Davante came to the Raiders is because his grandparents they're afraid to fly. And his family lives in California. So they were never able to go out and watch him play in Green Bay. I do think one of the extra bonuses, again, when you're as elite as Davante Adams and you're already at that 1 percentile, when you have the ability to find that extra 1%, you're as good as what Tay is, which that puts you at the 123.5 receiving yards per game and a touchdown number. If Tay knows that he's got his entire family in attendance, right? And every single time that they play the Chargers, his grandparents usually go out there. His family's usually there. And the first time that the Raiders played the Chargers back in 2022, Davante, he ended up buying his family it was like a $500,000 suite for everyone to be able to go there. On top of that, this is also a time that Davante's family usually gets together because Tay's daughter, I don't know which one, her birthday is next week, so the following week. So this is a big-time family event for Tay. Again, when you're in that 1%, how do you find that extra 1%? We hear Max Crosby say it time and time again. And the fact that he gets to play in front of his entire family on week 1 against a team that called him garbage, against a team that he has really dominated his entire career when he's been a member of this football team, call me crazy. I'm going to take that extra 1%, and Davante is going to torch them. I got one more reason here why Davante is going to absolutely ruin Chargers fans Sunday. But before I get into that, if you want to hang out with Jeremy Chuggs and I this Saturday in North Carolina, Durham, go to chatsports.com/topgolf. I know that not everybody's a golfer. I'm not really a golfer, but I love a good deal. And you can buy one raffle ticket right now for $20. If you end up winning, you're going to get 3 hours plus free appetizers hanging out with Jeremy and I at Topgolf. If you want a comparison, 1 hour at this Durham Topgolf, if you want to get an area that we're going to be at, it's $96 an hour. So imagine $20, and you can get 3 hours plus free appetizers. Legitimately, there's going to be raffle prizes there on top of that. I think that that's like a $20 value for up to like a chance to win something that's $500 worth. Like, this is going to be a really cool event. If you're not going to be able to go out to SoFi Stadium, you live on the East Coast, and you want to rock with Jeremy and I Saturday and Sunday as we get ready to take on the Chargers, this is where I want you guys to go. Chatsports.com/topgolf. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event on Saturday. My dad's also going to be there if you guys want to hang out with Papa Renz here a little bit. All right, let's go to the final reason here why I believe Davante is just going to set the bar to a whole new standard in this first game against the Chargers. The Chargers secondary doesn't scare me, and I know for a fact it definitely doesn't scare Davante Adams. I think when you look at Derwin James, the type of player he is at safety, he's probably going to get matched up against the tight end. Then you got Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. to me is the only other corner that even inspires a little bit of fear in me. But what is Davante so good at? He's so good at being able to create separation in that phone booth, which is kind of what Asante usually tries to do. And on top of that, you're going to have a better quarterback situation where, like, Derek Carr with Josh McDaniels was not that good of a quarterback. And again, that's not a rip on DC. That's just a fact. Last season, the quarterback play that we had in general was maybe the worst quarterback play in the NFL. I believe Gardner Minshew in this game is going to be the best QB that Davante's ever had in a Chargers game. And again, that's not a knock on DC. DC's the most talented quarterback Davante's had in a Raiders jersey. But Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels' offense, I am hoping, is not better than Gardner Minshew and a Luke Getsy offense. Maybe it's a tall task, I don't know, but I'm allowed to hope after all. Now, I told you all at the very beginning of today's show that I would tell you my stat projection for Davante in this Week 1 game against the Chargers, and I'm going to go with this. I believe he's going to see 14 total targets. He's going to bring in 10 of those for 117 yards and a touchdown. I'm excited. I'm excited to be shouting, show me those TDs when Davante does bring one in. I'll also say this, though. I am a little bit nervous because I play my fiance Alex in fantasy football this week, and she was able to get Davante Adams on her team. So you know what? You win some, you lose some. If I got to lose to my fiance and sleep on the couch, because that's our bet for the Raiders to get a big-time dub and Davante to put up those numbers, I'll take one for the team. Speaking of taking one for the team, I got to give some love here to Chuggs. He's going to be live on Thursday. It's not going to be me. My buddy Dave, I'm in his wedding. Dave, I hope you watch this show. Don't ever get married again on Week 1 of the NFL. But Chuggs and Smitty, they're going to be live on Thursday. We're going to be rooting on the Baltimore Ravens. If anybody's rooting on the Chiefs, go somewhere else. We will also have a Ravens stream live here at Chat Sports. We will also have a Chiefs stream live here at Chat Sports. But if you want to hang out with the Raiders Report, cheer on the Ravens to take down FKC. then I need you to subscribe. I need you to join. They're going to go live an hour before kickoff, so 7:20 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some prizes, and whoever is the MVP of this live show, I know I won't be here, but whoever's the MVP of that show, I'm taking your jersey to North Carolina, and I'm wearing it week 1 when the Raiders take down the Chargers. All right, Chuggs, let's go back to PrizePicks, and let's play a little bit of a game here. 51.5 rushing yards for Zeus. More or less? I didn't touch this one on PrizePicks because Zamir White's stats right now, they scare me. I think it's the biggest where, like, I think Zamir's going to have games where he goes for 100 yards, and then there's going to be other games where they might get behind, and you might see them rely on Alexander Madison.
Week 1, give me the more.
Okay.
If you're saying less, I think I gotta change up my fantasy lineup because I have Zamir White starting in my flex right now. If he's gonna get less than 51.5 rush yards, if you think he's projected to have less than that,
it's not. To me, it's just I gotta see Zeus go out there and do it. Where like 7.5 rushing yards for Gardner. I think that's an easy number to hit. Davante, I'm confident enough in Davante to go out there and get it done. For Zamir, I want to see him go out there, and how many touches does he get? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Zeus ended up finishing this game with, like, 15 carries. If he gets 15 or more carries, he's going to go over that 51.5 rushing yard number. But then also, like, my concern with Zamir and rushing yards is also the offensive line. Like, is it going to be Cody Whitehair? Is Dylan Parham going to be ready to go? Thayer Munford's got a big game. Like, I will admit that we talk so much about the quarterback play. This is a primetime game, though, to ensure the fact that you don't give up another 7 sacks. You do have to run the football. Like, you got to run the ball. You got to run the rock. But I think that the Raiders are going to go with a running back by committee. I hope the answer is more. El Jefe says more. Alex says the offensive line's bad. That's what kind of scares me right now. 25 carries for 102 yards for El Jefe. I hope you're right, man. I do. I do think, though, this is a guaranteed game where Zamir finds pay dirt. Like, my stat projection for Zamir, so maybe I should type the more. I would probably go like 15 carries. I have him probably right around 55 yards and a touchdown. Like, I think that this is going to be a much tougher game for Zamir to run the football.
I just changed it. I put in Malik Neighbors instead of Zamir White. You convinced me.
That's gonna flip flop multiple times this week. That's usually, at least that's how I do it. Like there's one day I'll be like, all right, this is where I'm going. Next day I'm like,
Malik Neighbors is great and he's gonna get fed.
Daniel Jones stinks.
Yeah,
he stinks. But again, I think you got to look at the matchup. If it's Stephon Gilmore against Malik Neighbors, go Zamir. If it's not, go Malik Neighbors. That's what I think. You're gonna switch it. That's all right.
I don't know.
Multiple switches. Jacob Serb says more. Jacob Serb, that's elite. My main man more. Touche. Kay, what's up, Kay? My girlfriend surprised me with tickets to the Raiders versus Chiefs game in October. Y'all have any connects with good prices on hotels or Airbnb? LOL. Raiders. 2 things. 1, sounds like you need to hit that upgrade button on your girlfriend and turn that into a fiance. That's a hell of a gift right there. That's girlfriend of the year right there.
How many Raiders game tickets has Alex gotten you?
Oh, boy. I actually think the answer is 0. I think the answer is actually 0.
Wow.
But then again, they're expensive.
Wow.
I'll say, do I have any good connects on prices and hotels? I have, we know some people in the area, obviously. I would say this. Get the ticket, get where you're staying in your hotel right now. I mean, you cannot afford to wait.
Yeah.
I'll also say, don't be afraid to get off the strip just because you're going to pay a lot cheaper of prices. But then again, if you want to just go, full in and your girlfriend bought the tickets, how I would do it is I would stay somewhere on the strip because Alex paid for the tickets.
Best bang for your buck in the middle of the strip. If you've never been to Vegas, if this is your first time, if you want to experience everything, best bang for your buck, in my opinion, because you don't even spend that much time at your hotel.
Correct.
And I think this is one that we've stayed at a couple of times. It's in the middle of everything. I really like Planet Hollywood. I think it's in such a good location in the middle of everything. You have the Bellagio fountains right across the street. You have Caesar's Palace. You have Aria. You're right in the middle of everything. That's what I would do if you're like never been to Vegas before. It's on the cheaper side of hotels.
Yep.
Also,
you're good.
Something that me and Danny did one time whenever we went there. Check out the signatures at MGM. There are 3 towers right there, and they're more like condos that you can do on Airbnb. Those are really nice, and they're literally right behind the strip, like right behind that. What was that Miracle Mile? Where Zahn got the hat that he lost.
I know exactly where you're talking about. I don't know where we were necessarily. I'd be lying to tell you.
If you're looking for quality, if money's not as much of an issue, it seems like you're saying good prices. I would go Planet Hollywood. If your money's not as much of an issue, obviously Caesar's Palace, Bellagio, right across the street. Those are 2 good options.
I think I like Resorts World. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie to y'all. If you're like a partier and you want to go to like Zouk, because like you're like, all right, I'm going to take my girlfriend out there. I will say Zouk is a really good club. I do have a connect there. He watches the Raiders Sport all the time.
Zouk is at Caesars, right?
No, Zouk is in Resorts World.
In Resorts World. Yes, yeah. That's right.
That's where, I don't know, were you there with us?
We went there for Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it?
That's where we saw Nico Collins.
Okay, yeah. But like there's a cigar lounge in there, which I know a bunch of Raiders players always hang out at.
Oh, Tropicana. I
don't even know if it's going to be there.
I cannot recommend the Tropicana. That's wild.
I don't even know if it's going to be there.
We stayed there last year for a Raiders event. Dude, it is like
Aria's nice. I mean, the Luxor. I mean, I'll say this: when we had to stay at the Luxor for the Super Bowl, I didn't mind that.
It's
all that
high.
Much. It's okay. I liked it because it's easy to get to Allegiant.
I stayed at the Mirage before. That's pretty nice.
Like my family used to stay at Bally's, but now that's called something different.
Oh yeah, it's because of the guy was telling us. It's because of the World Series of Poker. They changed it to the Horseshoe.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tropicana's gone. Yeah, I think we got him though. Okay. All I asked, take some pictures, send it to us. That'd be dope.
Mirage? No, it's not.
What?
The Mirage? Somebody said the Mirage is gone.
I don't
think so. No way. Well, I was just there.
Chuggs and I mean, we usually stay wherever we're invited. I'm not going to lie to y'all. So we bounce around a little bit.
Yeah. But best bang for your buck, in my opinion, Kay. Like I said, it's in the middle of everything, and you're not going to stay in your hotel that much.
Correct.
I like Planet Hollywood.
I think it's a good choice. Let's go to Cameron. What's up? If Tay balls the first 7 weeks, but we are only around 500, it would only make sense to trade him and get some value. Again, the win-loss total, I think, to even bring up the trade conversations around Davante, if the Raiders are 3-6 or worse, there's going to be a lot of trade conversations. The NFL trade deadline, again, November 3rd. Okay, that's right after Week 9 against the Bengals. November 3rd is the Week 9 game against the Bengals. November 5th is the NFL trade deadline, which November 5th is going to be one of the craziest days in general here. But if you're 3-6 or worse, you got to talk about trading Davante Adams. If you're 4-5 and he's playing great, depending on what the offer is, you can have that conversation. If a team's willing to give you a first-round pick, if you're a team that's looking for a quarterback in next year's draft, and I'll tell you what, a lot of good QBs in that first week of college football from what I saw. You got to entertain the idea. But, like, I saw a trade the other day somebody sent me. It was Davante Adams for Jameson Williams in a 3rd-round pick. I was like, if that's the offer, the answer is no. You're running away as fast as you can. You would do it?
I mean, I wouldn't do it. I might press for like a first or second, but Jameson Williams, I think he's really good.
Jameson Williams is a good receiver.
And he's, 10 years younger than Davante?
He's also, but I don't need Jameson Williams in that deal.
He fits your timeline for winning way better than Davante.
I just don't think he fits. I don't know. Call me crazy. I think Jameson Williams would not be a
store-bought pesto.
It wouldn't be. I do. I love pesto. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love pesto. I could F up some pesto.
I
don't know. I saw that trade and I was like, that's just not a good trade.
I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't run away. I would sit at the table and negotiate something with that. If they truly wanted to do the switch, I think Jameson Williams is gonna have a breakout season. I think he's gonna have a really good year.
He's gotta stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy. No doubt. I mean, if he could stay healthy, he's going to be a fun option.
If it was
but
Jamison Williams a second and then maybe a pick swap, like the Raiders get a fourth and they send a sixth.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not trading Davante Adams unless I get a first-round pick. I don't see why, if you're the Raiders, why you would entertain the idea unless you get a legit first-round pick or it's like a second-round pick and then a very good receiver.
I just think for that you should have traded him last season because each year he gets older as a receiver.
Sure.
Even if he's good, it's like Keenan Allen was fantastic. And what did he get from the Chargers last year?
Different timing, though. I think when you get traded at the NFL trade deadline, there's a higher chance of you getting a first-round pick because
I don't see it.
Okay.
I mean, with guys who were traded this past offseason, like I said, Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen both had over 1,000 yards.
They're not Davante Adams, though. I mean, I know Stephon Diggs and Davante are not close. They're not. Keenan Allen, I think, is a good receiver, but I think, unfortunately for Keenan, it was the timing was why he went for a fourth. I think if Keenan would have got traded at the NFL trade deadline, at the year he was having last season, because he was the top 3 receiver in the NFL at the NFL trade deadline last season. When you look at numbers and numbers alone, I think he would have gone a lot higher. Diggs and Davante, though, are not the same.
A lot higher? Like a first-rounder?
What?
Keenan Allen?
I think Keenan, you got to go look at his numbers. Again, I had him on fantasy last season, so I know he was tearing it up. He gets more than a fourth if they trade at the NFL deadline.
I think it's just, obviously you'd want a first, but
yeah,
you'd have to find that right matchup in the team willing to give up a first for that. I don't think that's a possibility right now. And if you're the Raiders and
I think a team would give up a first-round pick for Davante.
Right now?
I do, yeah. Certain teams. Again, it's certain teams. I think people still look at Davante as a no doubt top 5 receiver.
But then,
NFL.
I mean, at that point, the only teams that I think are really trading for him that need a wide receiver is you're like, we're a Super Bowl contender and we just need a wide receiver. If you're trading a first rounder for Davante,
it could be.
So you're trading with the Chiefs?
No, I don't think it's the Chiefs. I think it's unfortunate. One, it could be an injury, right? You never know. And if it's a team that's in that Super Bowl window, they're probably thinking first round pick is pick 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
I think the only teams willing to give up a first round pick are those last 4 teams in the draft. 28, 29, 30, or 29, 30, 31, 32. So you're either trading with the Bills, the Chiefs, the Niners.
The contract is what's really going to hinder it. Davante's contract, paying a receiver $44.1 million is a lot of money for the Raiders. Now, whatever team ends up trading for Davante, they would only own $35 million, next season in 2025, because the Raiders would eat some of it. But I hope it doesn't even happen. I agree. I think the Jets would give up a first-round pick. I do. I do. I think they are in this window right now with Aaron Rodgers, and if they are in this situation, I think the Jets would give up a first-round pick. But again,
but if they're in that situation and they're looking that good, that means him and Garrett Wilson are probably doing really good this season.
Cooking.
And what you're going to say, okay, we want to take receptions away from our young, budding wide receiver star and trade a first-round pick for another wide receiver.
If Aaron Rodgers wanted it, I think they would do it. I think the Jets, they are a team right now where if Aaron Rodgers says yes, they would do it. I do. I just think that they would. I think Davante goes for a first.
I don't think so.
Okay, hey, that's the best part about this. We're going to find out at some point what Davante is worth. I mean, the trade rumors are always going to happen. They're always going to happen. You're going to see what's being offered out there. But again, he's got to go out there. He's got to play well. He's got to show that he's not regressing at all in age. And I actually don't think I've seen Davante regress that much. It's just the quarterback play's been bad. Brandon, what's up, bro? J. Michael, there is a hotel across from Kaufman and Arrowhead, about 15-minute walk. Also, it takes at least 1.5 hour driving to Arrowhead. Look it up and book. I think Brandon's misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think he was looking for a hotel in Vegas.
Correct. Or unless we got it wrong. That would actually be funny.
Well, he was saying thanks in the comment section, so okay. I think we had it right.
Yeah, Brandon, I think he's looking for a hotel in Vegas. Brandon's like, this is what you need to do. You need to book a hotel in Kansas City. It's that much cheaper, and then you drive.
You drive game day.
That's like what my dad would do. He's like, you get a hotel in Kansas City, then you drive there on game day, and you think about driving back. Get an Uber. Get an Uber. All right, y'all. We got 660. Somebody else needs to either like or watch the show right now or leave because we're at a very uncomfortable number for me. Amount of people watching the show. If you haven't yet, though, make sure you do click that like button. Believe it or not, it's an easy way to just say thanks to Chuggs and I, everything we do. It's also an easy way to show our bosses that we're doing the right things around here. I got Just Nick. I see Kurt, Jake Serb, Roger, Alex M, El Jefe Raider, True Raider, all showing love to us in the comments. Now, I got one more segment coming up here on today's show, which is around players that are on the hot seat. And again, these are players that I don't think are like in risk of losing their job. It is just a simple, there is a lot of pressure on those guys right now entering week one, and you could say that their seat's pretty hot. Giggity. You ready? Oh, man. You ready? Nation?
I'm ready.
You guys ready to get this thing rocking and rolling? Coming up, let's talk about some players on the hot seat. If you believe in pressure makes diamonds, then I need you to click that like button right now because the 5 players that I'm about to talk about on the show, the guys that their seats are really hot, I'm hoping that this heat right here creates a little bit of pressure and we can turn all these guys into diamonds because if we do, it's going to be a lot of just win babies this upcoming season. Who's on the hot seat? We're going to be talking about it here on the Raiders Report. I'm Mitchell Renz, and I'm going to be ranking these players from 5 down to 1. The number 1 player is the guy that's got the most approved week 1 up against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'm not saying up here that these players are at risk of losing their job. No, I'm saying that the seat's hot right now because the expectation or the fact that they need to go out there and they need to prove it right away, or else there's going to be more rumors, there's going to be some more comments, there's going to be more questions about whether or not they can do it on a weekly basis. So here's what I want you to do, and I want you to be honest with me. I rock silver and black just like every one of y'all, and I don't think it's a bad thing to say that a guy's on a hot seat. Sometimes it's just a cold, hard fact. I want you to name a Raiders player that right now, going into this week 1 game against the Chargers, is on the hot seat. I'm going to go here. Number 5 on the hot seat meter is Zamir White, the Raiders starting running back. And point blank, simple reason is you got big shoes to fill here with Josh Jacobs. Jacobs, when he was drafted in 2019, realistically, is like the only good pick that the Raiders have had in the first round since 2019, and he's going to go down in the history books as one of the best Raiders running backs of all time. Zeus showed you at the end of last season that he can be a reliable running back, but the Raiders do want to be able to implement a running back by committee. They went out and they signed Alexander Madison, who's a good, not great running back, but Zeus in his first year has the opportunity to be the main running back. And I think when you're in your 3rd year as a 4th-round player, you know, you're not really expected that you're always going to get that opportunity. So I think for Zamir, and I think for Zamir's agent and his team, he goes, hey, if you want to prove that you deserve to be a bell cow back, if you want to prove that you deserve a big-time payday, like, you got to do it this year. Because if he can't prove it this season, then I don't know if he's going to ever get another opportunity. Whether it's fair or not because he's got Gardner Minshew as a quarterback, whether it's fair or not, or whether or not he's got a healthy offensive line, I think the bottom line is he's getting an opportunity now. And the window for running backs is so small that if you don't get it done in week 1, if you don't show right away that you can be a reliable back, you might not ever get that opportunity again to be that main back. Now, again, we saw it a little bit last season. Zeus looked really good those final 4 weeks of the season when Josh Jacobs was struggling with some injuries. And, you know, they were not afraid to give him a lot of work. Now, that's also with a different OC, different offensive line coach, a lot of different things working probably to Zeus's advantage this upcoming game. But, like, we got to be able to prove that we can take some pressure off our quarterback. Zamir's going to be a big focal point of that. He's got to run physical. He's got to take care of the football, no doubt about it. This is going to be a big matchup, though. Week 1 on the road at SoFi Stadium on September 8th. Every single person, y'all better be joining our watch party. I know that we had over 100,000 people joining our shows during the preseason. I expect 200,000 people here. We did a watch party for the Super Bowl against the Chiefs and the 49ers, 2 teams that I can't stand. We had almost 500,000 people joining. We're going to do a giveaway, which signed Max Crosby jersey? signed Max Crosby jersey courtesy of Tri-Van we're going to be giving away on this day. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you're subscribed. Let's go to number 4 here of Raiders on the hot seat entering this AFC West divisional rivalry game. I'm going to go with cornerback Jacorian Bennett, entering his second year here in the NFL. And Jacorian, I actually think when I watch his tape, he passes the eye test a lot from an athletic standpoint. Does need to be a little bit better. In the 14 games that he played last season, had a 42.4 overall PFF grade. Not good against the run. Got burnt way too often in coverage. And you could see that he was just, I think, thinking way too much. It kind of reminds me of like Trevon Merrigan, his second year in the NFL. And Merrigan even has spoke about this multiple times where he's like, I was thinking way too much instead of going out there and reacting. Bennett needs to prove that his struggles were just rookie struggles. Maybe with, Josh McDaniels as the head coach wasn't what you were looking for. But the Raiders are trusting him to be that cornerback 3. And when you look at actions, because actions speak louder than words, I think a lot of Raider fans, myself included, this entire offseason, we've been waiting for the Raiders to either add a veteran in free agency. We thought that the Raiders could potentially draft a corner at number 13. But AP, Tom Telesco, this regime has said time and time again, based on their actions, we believe in Jacorian Bennett. Max Crosby was asked over the offseason, who do you think is going to have a breakout year? He said Jacorian Bennett. We know what we got in Nate Hobbs. We know what we got in Jack Jones. Brandon Faison's not even on this team anymore. And you look at Darnay Holmes, he's a new addition. Harper, he's a new addition. But overall, this team is expecting a lot from Jacorian because they haven't done anything that shows you otherwise. We thought that they'd go out and add a corner. They have money to do it in the free agent market. But guess what? They have not done it. And that's because they believe in Jacorian Bennett. So here's your opportunity, Jacorian. You got to go out there. You got to prove it. For that reason, he's on the hot seat. Because I think out of all the other positions on your potential starting defense, that's the one where you circle if you're an offensive coordinator. You go, that's the guy that I'm going to go after. Because I'm not going to test Jack. I'm not going to test Nate, Marcus, or Trevon. You're going to go after Jacorian. And that's the guy that I think gets tested a lot. Now, before we get into the other things that I want to show here on the hot seat, to make sure that your seat's not burning up, which, I'll tell you this, the deals that Gametime is going on right now, you might be sitting in a hot seat. These deals are pretty hot. $20 off with code ChatSports. Download the Gametime app today, the perfect app for the nation and all fans out there. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Lowest price guaranteed on those last-minute tickets. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love Gametime because of the curated deals. Makes it easier to find the best price on great seats. I love seat views, which I like the fact that you can see before you buy. The lowest price guaranteed, and now they got this new thing. It's called the Super Deal, which the Super Deal, for anybody that watches the show, you know that I like a good deal. I'm also the type of person, though, where, like, if I go window shopping, the only way you're going to get me to walk into a store, which Alex and I were literally just doing this over the weekend, the only way you're going to get me to walk in through that store is if you give me a super deal, a deal where I'm like, all right, like, that's amazing. So when I go on Gametime right now, this is from earlier today, and it's already switched up based on what I'm looking at right now. Like, now the top deal is showing me it is C127, row 13, the top 1 percentile. Earlier when I looked today, I mean, this is a great deal. They also show where, like, sometimes it's like 10% off. It's tickets. This one that I'm looking at right now is top 10% value. This one says $27 off. Another one's in here that says top 5%, $42 off. The bottom line is Gametime is going to help you find the tickets, because we don't all have a girlfriend that can, give us a ticket to the game for our birthday. But hey, download Gametime right now, $20 off with code ChatSports. That's ChatSports. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And please, I mean this, you got to go check out that super deal for any game that you go watch. And even for the people that plan on going out to Los Angeles for the Raiders game, maybe go check out a baseball game. Maybe go check out, I don't know, a college football game. A lot of stuff, a lot of more than just NFL. Shout out to Gametime for sponsoring the Raiders Report. Let's go to the number 3 guy here on the hot seat, and it's Tyree Wilson. And this is he needs to go out there and he needs to prove it. And I know what I said at the beginning of the show, that nobody here is really truly, like, worth losing their job. I think Tyree Wilson's got to prove that he's better than Janarius Robinson, because I'm not afraid to sit up here and say that I have more confidence in Janarius Robinson than I do Tyree Wilson right now, which it's not something I wanted to say. We've been all on this Tyree deserves a chance. Tyree's got a high upside, but he was a first-round pick, and he hasn't shown any promise in terms of improving this offseason. His 52.9 overall preseason PFF grade does not inspire much confidence. And here's one of the most honest ways that I could say this. If Tyree Wilson cannot get it done, if you can't succeed with Antonio Pierce, Patrick Graham, and Rob Leonard, one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL, you're the problem. Point blank simple. So this is a game where Tyree's got to go out there, whether they put him on the outside, whether they put him on the inside. He needs to be able to show that he can make an impact and not just get pushed around. Because if I'm the Raiders, I'm going, well, I can't really trust Tyree Wilson to get it done. And then you're going to see more out of Janarius Robinson. You're going to see more of Malcolm not being able to get that breather, Max not being able to get that extra breather that he needs. And I know Max never wants to come off the field, but for the Raiders, this is going to be a team that does a lot of 5 defensive linemen. You need those healthy rotations. You need fresh rotations. But then also, the elephant in the room is the Raiders' last 10 first-round picks. You got Brock Bowers this season, 2023 Tyree Wilson. Right now, kind of looks like a bust. 2022 Davante Adams. All right, that one worked out. 2021 Alex Otherwood, bust. Henry Ruggs, jail. 2020 Damon Arnett, not even in the league anymore. Cleveland Ferrell, bust. Josh Jacobs, let's be real, was a good pick. However, was at the running back position. 2019 Jonathan Abram, stinks. 2018 Colton Miller, that works. When you look at the amount of busts on that screen, it makes me want to throw up, right? The amount of busts that you're seeing on screen, I'm actually surprised that didn't get blocked, because Pornhub's blocked in Texas. That's how many busts right now are up there on that screen. And I do think if Tyree Wilson succeeds, it takes a little bit of pressure off Brock Bowers to succeed right away. And I know that Bowers is probably, I think he's a surefire not going to bust player. I know, knock on wood here. Knock on wood. But just because he's a hell of an athlete, he's one of the best college football players that has been out there. But, I think if Tyree does his thing, then we can stop this stupid Raiders just only draft first-round picks. And I think because Bowers right now is, battling a little minor injury. And, again, I'm making this video on Tuesday, so if we get an update after this video goes out, just keep that in mind. But, if Tyree plays well, and then I think it does take a little bit of pressure off Brock Bowers to go out there and just say, all right, not all first-round picks for the Raiders are busts. Let's go to number 2 here, and it's just going to be the entire Raiders offensive line. I thought about putting one player on here like a JPJ, maybe a Dylan Parham, but you know what? The entire Raiders offensive line, to me right now, is on the hot seat because there's just a lot of question marks. And the question marks are, how healthy is this team? Are we prepared to go up against a Chargers team that the last time that you went up against them in SoFi Stadium, they embarrassed you? Now, I've talked to a few of the Raiders offensive linemen that were in that game, and, they've told me that they don't think it's fair that they're getting blamed for 7 sacks. They feel like that Aiden should have got some of those as well, just because he's unable to move in the pocket. Well, now you have a quarterback in Gardner Minshew that can field pocket a little bit better, has some more awareness, but you got a brand new offensive line coach in James Craig. And when you allow 7 sacks at SoFi, that's what a lot of people are going to be looking at. Is Colton Miller healthy? Is Cody Whitehair ready for the job? I don't want Cody Whitehair to be out there starting left guard. I would rather you put Andres Pete if you're not thinking JPJ is ready to go. But we could talk about Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, Gardner Minshew, Zamir White. It's not going to matter unless our offensive line goes up there and actually wins in the trenches. Because I know that the Chargers offensive line, they got 2 really solid tackles. Raiders got to be able to dominate this game in the trenches, or else they're not going to beat Jim Harbaugh and I almost said Michigan Wolverines. Before I get into the player that's got the most approved, the hottest seat of all, we got some hot tickets right now. chatsports.com/topgolf. If you want to hang out with Chuggs and I in North Carolina on Saturday, you can get 1 ticket for $20. And if you end up winning, I'm just going to say it's probably like a $500 value. 3 hours worth of Topgolf, free appetizers. There's going to be other food deals there, drink deals. There's going to be raffle items. So, you could pay $20, hang out with Chuggs and I for 3 hours, get in some free Topgolf, have a chance to win a bunch of free prizes, raffles, get some food in your belly. It's going to be an unbelievable experience. So all I ask is, if you're not going out to SoFi and you live on the East Coast, even if you don't like golf, come pull up and hang out with Chuggs and I. Chatsports.com/topgolf. this Saturday. This link down in the comments, down in the description, and family friendly. We can have some fun. That I can promise you. Let's go. Number 1 player on the Raiders hot seat. This should not surprise anybody. It is Gardner Minshew. It is easy to be named the starting quarterback. It is. But guess what's not easy? Keeping the job. And he is a journeyman quarterback who's got to prove that he deserves to keep it, because if he goes out there and he struggles week 1, there's going to be a lot of people going, oh, it's time to put in Aiden. They got to put in Aiden. And I know that if you were to ask most Raiders fans when they made the decision to start Gardner or naming Gardner the starter over Aiden, there was a lot of people that were upset about it. Hell, there's people that are still upset about it. And I'm not going to be afraid to say, like, I always thought that Gardner was going to be the starting quarterback. But if Gardner goes out there week 1 and he shits the bed, like I'm talking, he looks really, really bad, then I'm going to stand up here on this show and I'm going to go, well, you at least got to consider giving Aiden O'Connell a chance. The only way that you're going to make the Aiden O'Connell conversation go away is if Gardner Minshew goes out there and does his thing. Because logistically, like legitimately, the right word, the Raiders haven't had a quarterback that I would say is a good quarterback, top 16 QB, since 2016. You can say what you want about Derek Carr. 2017, after the injury, he was not a top 16 quarterback. Then he got stuck with Josh McDaniels. I get it. He had a lot of different head coaches, a lot of different offensive coordinators. You can say the exact same thing about Gardner Minshew. So, like, we need to see the best version of Minshew take care of the football, not take too many sacks, create with his legs, and if he can just get us to 21 to 24 points on offense with the skill position players we have, you're going to not hear a lot of conversation about Aiden. And I probably talked more about Aiden and Gardner than anybody this offseason, and I don't really want to talk about it. Why? Because if I'm bringing it up, it means the Raiders aren't winning games or Gardner's playing bad. If I'm not talking about it at all, it means Gardner's doing his job. And at the end of the day, that's all I care about. I don't care who the Raiders starting quarterback is. I've said it before. I don't care if it's Aiden O'Connell, Carter Bradley, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Jeremy Chuggs. I just want to win football games. So let me know down below, who did I leave off my list? Is there somebody out there like, Mitch, this guy's seat is way hotter than those 5 players that you just mentioned, okay? And somebody said you left off Getsy. Kinda. I'm also going to tie in Antonio Pierce. I'm going to tie in Patrick Graham. And I'm also going to tie in Luke Getsy because you got a brand new staff. Mark Davis believed in Antonio Pierce enough to name him the interim head coach. And I'm not saying that the Raiders chose Antonio Pierce over Jim Harbaugh because maybe Harbaugh would have chose the Chargers overall anyway. But I do think that by the Raiders saying that Antonio Pierce is going to be our guy, and it was always like he was going to be the guy, you could have had Jim Harbaugh. You're going up against him in week 1. Antonio Pierce had an opportunity to bring in some of his coordinators. We thought that we were going to have, what's his name? He ended up not, Cliff Kingsbury, F that guy. He ends up going to Washington. We're now stuck with Luke Getsy. Antonio Pierce's seat is hot. Not in the idea that he's going to get fired. He's going to be your head coach this entire season. But I want to see AP prove it against Jim Harbaugh. And because the amount of times I heard Harbaugh's got a better resume, Harbaugh's a better coach, that might all be true. But I think Antonio Pierce was the right man for the job, and he was the perfect hire. And I want him to go out there and prove exactly what I think he's going to do, and he's going to win.
Mitch, you know who else is on the hot seat? You.
I am on the hot seat. I don't even know if I'm on the hot seat. Dave, you're on the hot seat for making me go to a wedding. I got to miss week 1 of this football game here. Rehearsal dinner. That's what I'm going to be doing. Wedding's Friday. Don't worry, I'll be doing the actual watch party. But Chuggs, he's going to be live this Thursday. We're going to be cheering on the Ravens up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Whoever is the MVP of this game, maybe it'll be Suavemente, Noah. I'm going to wear your jersey in North Carolina for that week 1 kickoff party. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're tuned in. But make sure you pull up and have some fun with Jeremy, Smitty, and everybody here on the Raiders Report. Because even though I won't be here, we're still going to go live. You guys deserve it. We have the best fans in all the world. But help us cheer on against FKC. One more PrizePicks question, and then Jeremy, Chuggs, and I are going to hop on out of here.
Brandon said he was very well aware that he wasn't asking about ticket or hotels in Kansas City. He just wanted to cover his bases.
I got you. You know what, Brandon? That's why you're Mount Raider more. That's why I respect it. Jacoby Myers, 41.5 receiving yards against the Chargers, more or less. I took the 3.5 receptions.
Give me the more.
You're going more?
Give me the more.
Chuggs is going to go more. Jacoby's stat line is a scary one.
Venom,
for me.
what's up? Venom's also been asking you, So, Venom, we talked about it at the very beginning of the show, but if you want to give a quick synopsis, he's been that whole past segment, he's been asking your thoughts on Cam Ward for the past 20 minutes.
I don't want to sit up here and say I told a lot of people so because it was only one game, but
I did tell you so.
I'm just saying Cam Ward really, really impressed even me, and I think a lot of people know that I'm very high on Cam Ward. He was the quarterback that I was talking about that I wanted the Raiders to go out and get. But to me, you can say what you want about Florida. They're not very good. But again, that atmosphere, to be able to play in an atmosphere like that and be so cool, calm, and collected the whole time and throw the pill the way that he did, I mean, like that's you could tell he's got it up here. And if you have it up here with his athletic ability, with his arm strength, his ability to throw different arm levels, I like what I saw a lot, man.
Rebel, I did watch Florida State's in trouble.
Yeah.
If they're losing,
they're bad.
If they're losing to Boston College like that,
I mean, DJU is going to get a lot of the attention, but like, I don't even think it's a DJU problem. They're just not a good football team.
He did have a couple of throws.
Oh, he is as sporadic as it comes, man. He's somebody where you could.
We do have a Florida State fan, a Florida State alum in the office, and he's
bad.
He's been walking around with his tail between his legs for the past 2 weeks.
Like again, DJU, he throws some balls, and you're like, this guy's got an NFL talent of an arm, speed-wise.
Dude,
but there's sometimes like, I don't know if he would hit the net. You know, remember when you showed me that video of Aiden just missing over and over again? I don't know if DJ hits the net. Some of his throws. I mean, that one throw he had in the back of the end zone.
That was bad.
I
said it earlier.
I don't even know how it's possible.
Uiagalelei, he's going to be the Louisiana Tech quarterback next year. He's going to be playing for Tulsa, Louisiana Tech, UConn, I don't know.
Maybe Boston College.
UTSA.
The Boston College QB was better than DJU.
Yeah.
Wasn't close.
He'll be playing he should have stayed at Oregon State.
I agree. I actually think he should have. I will say I thought the Oregon State team was a lot better defensively than what they got credit for, and it could kind of hide him a little bit.
I think it's also really hard for a guy to continuously, unless you're like extremely talented, you're just like a top guy in college football regardless. I think it's hard for you to consistently jump from team to team to team each year, which is what he's done.
I think it's just, again, it's the transfer portal, and you know, this is where you got to give that kid from Moss from USC a lot of credit, where you know he could have been like, oh man, I'm playing behind Caleb Williams. I could have just transferred somewhere else. Like, didn't know if he was going to get an opportunity. Gets his opportunity.
The quarterback
at
LSU.
LSU's another great example.
He was a redshirt freshman the year that Jaden Daniels decided to transfer over.
Yep.
He could have said, screw this, I'm going somewhere else. I'm not waiting another year, because he already sat out 1 year. Had to sit out another.
I do think iron sharpens iron, and right now we're just getting the transfer portal. I like the transfer portal, I do, but I do think we're starting to get to a time that's like in life where it gets hard right now. I'm just gonna give up and I'm gonna go somewhere else instead of being tough and like sticking through it, and achieving something. I feel like that would make you a better person, a football player.
Lance, you just said it. I think next year Arch is going to benefit from being in that same system, playing for Texas next season, rather than him transferring this. If he could have easily transferred this year and played at a top. He could be the quarterback at Florida State very easily.
Sure.
I bet you if Arch entered the transfer portal, Florida State would have loved to have him more than DJ Uiagalelei. Notre Dame probably would have considered him instead of
Riley Leonard.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I just think in today's day and age, there's just life in general, right? There's just always options. And if you can't get a quick answer, like Amazon Prime, like you're like, I want it now.
And it's different for QBs who are at lower schools going to top programs. Like somebody just said Cam Ward, he also has transferred multiple times. He was at Lamar and then at Washington State.
Correct.
Both those programs are much lesser than the University of Miami.
But I also think like sometimes like when you do that kind of stuff, it makes you a better player. Where if you ever listen to Cam Newton's story, how he was a quarterback back up to Tim Tebow, and then had some stuff happen. Then he played at a really small school. I forget what it was, like a JUCO school.
I think he played for Blinn.
I don't know what that is. I know he played at
so basically
JUCO.
Blinn is in the same town as College Station.
Okay.
Or same town as.
I'm not from here.
Same town as Texas A&M.
Okay.
It's Texas A&M and Blinn is like right next to it. I think that's where Cam Newton went.
But like when you listen to Cam tell his story, and I've listened to him on some podcasts, and he's just like, I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me because he worked so hard to get back then to that D1 level. Obviously played at Auburn, won the Heisman. It's just if you're a young man and you're ever dealt with a situation where you get the option to take the easy way out, I know you can take the easy way out, but I think in the long run, sometimes it is absolutely better to stick through it and prove that you're going to be the better guy.
He went to Blinn.
Blinn? Okay.
Blinn, which is it's like the joke at A&M. If like you can't get into A&M, you go to Blinn for a year and then you transfer to A&M because it's the community college that's right next to A&M.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that's like, again, I grew up near Penn State, so people would always go to like Penn State Berks or
like if we ask anybody who went to a major college, we're like, PD, what community college did people who didn't get into Tennessee go to? You'd be like, oh yeah, they're called Jaxer. Huh? Pellissippi. There you go. You probably called them like Pellissippians or something, or Pellies or some weird name.
Maybe even worse than that.
Maybe even worse than that. I'm afraid to ask Petey.
You and me both. All right, y'all. I think for this, Chuggs and I are going to get on out of here. I really appreciate all y'all tuning in. So the remainder schedule for this week, I'm going to make you guys a bunch of videos tomorrow. I'm not going to be live then. Next time that this channel is going to be live, Chuggs is going to be in this seat, or standing, not even a seat. Tyler Smith, our host. Is it Tyler? Is that the first name? I don't know. I forget what you called him the first time. What it was like that random show. I don't even remember.
I think I called him Jake.
I think you did. I think you called him Jake. Jake Smith. I think
I called him Jake Smitty.
Yeah,
but
no, you 100% did. Smitty's going to be in that chair.
I've literally only called him Smitty.
Correct. Now, I'm actually not convinced. Like, there's at times where when I introduce people that work here to like my other friends or like Alex, I have like that second, like Chip. I don't even know if he has a first name.
You're like, this dude's name,
Chip.
Moose.
Chip. I know.
This is Moose.
Cullen's got the most names. Colonoscopy. Like Reed. Like I hung out with Reed this weekend.
Colonoli.
Is that his first name or is that his last name?
Reed.
Okay.
Last name, I believe it's Bartkus.
Butkus?
Bartkus?
I don't know. I learned one name. Unless you've worked here for a long time, then it gets difficult. All right. Next time you're going to see Chuggs and I is going to be on Sunday or Saturday in North Carolina. Or you can hang out with Chuggs and Smitty on Thursday. There's a chance I might be able to like at least just call in and say what's up. Like maybe the first touchdown for the Ravens. It's going to be in the middle of like dinner or something, but I'm not missing this stream. I will tune in. All right, that'll be my job on Thursday. Tune in, hit that subscribe button. Peace out. And again, if you can't pull up Thursday, you better be there on Sunday.
I better see Thursday morning that style of video on your Instagram story.
Raiders. Henny boy, you and me both. Hit me up. I'll see you guys Sunday on game day. If not, Chuggs will be here on Thursday. FKC.